We're live, so give me a second.
Not yet, you're not live yet. Still on the ground.
Okay.
So we are live.
Gentlemen, we are back for episode number 17 of the podcast with a jam-packed episode. It feels like it was just yesterday when Trump said he had COVID, and we talked about it on podcast, but we've never talked about him getting COVID on the podcast.
It's one of those things that the news cycle never ends for that. It's just one big warp of news just bombarding you constantly.
It's ongoing, it's nonstop, and we got a lot of things to cover. One is Trump getting COVID and the reaction from the left, the middle, and the right, which we'll talk about.
All shocking too, right?
No question about it.
Hard to imagine.
And obviously today we have one very, very exciting big announcement to make that we're excited about sharing with you. We'll talk about what's going on between Armenia and Azerbaijan, which is ongoing. Now it's officially on the 9th day. We got a lot of things to talk about with that part. Regal Cinemas suspends operation at all U.S. locations. Closing could affect 40,000 jobs. Then we have Levi's is jumping into the $32 billion resale market with its own program for worn jeans and jackets. JP Morgan to pay $920 million. 661,000 jobs added to the economy last month as of October 1st. We'll talk about the unemployment side. John McAfee, out of all the people. John McAfee's been on Valuetainment before.
Yeah, I'd like to hear your opinion on this
John
guy.
McAfee indicted for tax evasion.
Weird dude, yeah?
Qualified
weirdo.
No, I mean,
you know this guy or no?
Oh, yeah, totally. The fact that they found him is shocking, isn't it?
In a league of his own, that guy is. In a league of his own. And then something's going on with Maduro. He's about to get $1 billion. The debate that's taking place with Kamala Harris and Mike Pence. Melania Trump caught on tape swearing in response to children separated at border. And we'll actually watch through that together and get a reaction. That one I'm really curious to know what you guys are going to say. And there's a few other things going on that Ireland's court ruled that Subway sandwich bread is not legally.
Let's make sure we get to that one today.
No. It is not legally.
Do not tell me
bread.
That.
Yes.
I love me
not
some Subway.
Legally bread. And then SNL did an interesting debate remake of what took place recently. So I say let's just get right into it. With movies first, and we'll let the audience build up before we get started. Guys, if you're back with us on this podcast, we appreciate your coming back and being with us. Put the thumbs up and share the podcast so we can get into the different topics here. I know we got Dorian giving love to the Heat.
Oh, yeah, Dorian.
Listen, I've never celebrated the Heat winning.
This
is the first time in my life I've been excited about somebody beating the Lakers in the finals.
Yeah.
I was rooting for Butler, triple-double.
I think it's a series. I really do. I mean, they're back. Riley's got them fired up.
I'm just waiting for the breaking news that Bam is coming back, Goran's coming back.
Yeah.
Shout out to my
I think the
Eastern European ballers out there.
I think the strategy is you got to get AD in foul trouble. It's that simple. You got to get him in foul trouble early.
Sure.
You get him in foul trouble early, then you got a shot. You don't?
Right.
You don't. It's that simple.
And force the Lakers to shoot threes because they're not always going to make them.
That's a good point. So let's talk about Regal Cinemas. Okay. Regal Cinemas suspends operation at all U.S. locations. On Monday, said they're closing 536 stores. Okay. On a lack of new releases, the closing will affect 40,000 Regal employees. The parent companies, Cineworld, plunged 40% in trading Monday after the announcement. New York and California markets have remained closed. This is the two largest markets. We are like a grocery shop that doesn't have vegetables, fruit, and meat. The CEO, Mookie Greidinger, said in an interview, we cannot operate for a long time without a product. Some Hollywood studios have experimented with shipping big budget movies directly online. Walt Disney opted against releasing its $200 million Mulan remake in U.S. theaters and instead put the movie on streaming service for about $30. Think about that.
Sure.
I mean, you're thinking about we're going to go to the theater. They said, forget about we're not going to theater. We'll go on a streaming service for $30. But with only 2/3 of domestic theaters able to open because of varying state and local guidelines, the consumers are apparently still wary of going to theaters. The $200 million movie grossed just $45 million in the U.S. and Canada. And the performance led Hollywood studios to recall from releasing costly films for now.
Yeah.
So, your thoughts? You've been in this business for a while. What are you thinking about this?
I feel horrible for the business. I really do, because I'll tell you right now, they're done. They're done. We're used to not going to theaters. Is anybody looking forward to going to a theater? I didn't even like the experience before COVID. I really didn't. Especially when you realize you can get all this at home now, and these streaming services have pounced. I mean, they are so lucky. I mean, the timing could not be better for them. Did you see what the stock price did for the Cinemark, the #1 cinema chain in Britain? It went from $275 before the pandemic to $52 right now. That whole industry is in such serious trouble right now. And here's the saddest thing for them. like the CEO said, they can't link one case of COVID to go into a movie theater. You know, it'd be one thing if you thought, okay, my business, my industry is responsible for 10,000 people dying. I get it, right? But when there's not one that they can really prove person that's contracted COVID from going to a movie theater, it's got to be very, very frustrating. Same thing with bar owners and, you know, museums and things like that. But I don't care about going to a theater again. I have no desire to.
When's the last
I
time
don't
you
like
went
the
to a movie
experience, to
theater?
be honest with you. Maybe I'll go once a year because A, I'd much rather watch it on my own schedule, and B, a lot of people at theaters annoy me, right? And if I'm going to have 2.5 hours,
Are you
where I'm not-
everybody though? That becomes a question. Are
Probably
you
not.
everybody? Yeah, because
You're not everybody. What's going on?
No,
here?
and what I mean by this,
Yeah.
are you everybody? Is what I wonder is. I hear you good, by the way, just so you know. Maybe you don't
Okay.
hear yourself
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
I wonder if you are everybody. Sometimes, like, I go to myself and I'll say things like, well, who the hell's going to buy coffee? About a few billion people. Now, I could care less about coffee. I'm like, you know what? That's exactly what's going on because no one's drinking coffee. I don't know about what's going on here. And by the way, you may be right. I'm not saying you're wrong or you're right. I'm just saying I don't know if we're gone away from the movies because of that, or people are just flat out scared to take their kids to the theater.
Are you a movie guy? Do you go to the movies with, with your kids, with your family?
For me, for years, if you ask my assistants, how did you know when Pat came in from watching a movie? I would come 7 o'clock to the office. I'd work till 10 o'clock. I'd go across the street. I'd watch a movie. I'd come back. She says, where were you at? I got popcorn all over my suit.
got proof, got the butter, right?
And I would go and watch movies with my 80-year-old friends.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay?
You know, Pat, here's the thing. I think America, if this had lasted 3 weeks, a month and a half, it's a different thing. But habits change in the span of 6
Yeah.
months. And if you take the experience of going to a theater away from people and they find an alternative, it's even if it's 30% that don't go back, it's going to be really, really detrimental.
What do you think about it?
I mean, the whole industry just needs to adapt and survive. So you see that a lot of these drive-in movie theaters are popping up now. Tom hit on the fact that he'd rather stay home. Obviously, you got Netflix, you got Quibi, you got Disney Plus, and you got all these other CBS and Hulu and everything popping up. So for instance, I don't go to the movies unless I'm with a girl and she's like, I really wanted to go to the movies. And then when we go to the movies, we go to these like fancy couch sitting type. You're just paying $30
in
for
the
a movie.
corner, all the way in the back.
In the corner, you
Curtain
know.
in front of him.
The old
How come you don't want to
popcorn
sit here in the
trick?
middle? No, let's sit over there in the corner.
Way up top, the old popcorn trick. We know that one. But the
Busted?
but these what's so funny?
Let me get that popcorn. Go ahead.
They need to adapt and survive. Basically, I don't see anyone just showing up, sitting in your typical seat. Other than Paul Escarcega, our famous talent director, sees the same movie over and over again. He buys like the month pass and he just goes to the movies.
They lose money on that guy.
They lose money on that
They
guy.
lose
Yeah.
money on
Hey,
Paul.
Pat,
But you got to adapt and survive because the game has certainly changed.
Here's
I think Tom's right. I don't know if it's going to bounce back.
Here's the bigger question. Who's deciding all this? I
Yeah.
fly here,
Yeah.
right, every week.
Yep.
Planes are full. All right, you got someone closer than me and Adam sitting for 3.5 hours
Yeah.
on a plane,
Unbelievable.
right? But then now a theater, you can't go to a movie theater, you can't go to a football game. I think that's what would kill me if I was in one of these industries that's getting crushed. Because who the hell is making up these rules? And they're not fair and they're not consistent. So, man, it just doesn't even make sense. Why can't you have social distancing in the theater and at least try to open them up?
Well, a couple things. I don't know if you saw what Cuomo and de Blasio said. Again,
Well,
recently.
whatever it was, I'm sure it was great.
Well, it was again. They're shutting down restaurants, which now it's at a point right now where they're thinking 50% of restaurants are going to just be gone.
Yeah,
They're not
and
gonna
that's
be
not
around,
even an
period.
exaggeration.
Oh no,
An
no.
audit said that could happen.
That's an audit saying
Yeah.
that's going to happen, and that's New York City. Like you're talking about, you go to New York City to go to restaurants. It's known for its restaurants, right? Okay, 50% is going to be gone. De Blasio came out and they're saying they're about, both him and Cuomo are on the same page about shutting down churches. If they don't follow guidelines, they're going to shut down churches. Non-essential businesses are again going to be shut down because their cases are going up. They're not talking about how many deaths, but they're talking about how many cases that's going up in New York. All that stuff's taking place. And then again, he was asked, how about protesting? And he says, well, it's a very sensitive time in history right now.
De Blasio.
De Blasio, it's a very sensitive
That
time
was
in
from my
history
interview
right
in
now.
July.
No. This just happened
He did it again?
this week.
De
Again.
Blasio ain't playing. De Blasio ain't playing.
This is yesterday. We're talking about the last 24, 48 hours.
So he did it again.
So this is kind of where I go with this. Look, when I lived in Iran and there was war and we were bombed on, okay, And we went from city to city to city to city to city. Everything, it seemed gloomy. Like, I don't even know if you guys remember when the pandemic first hit. Maybe it was just me. For about a month or two, Dallas seemed gloomy. When you went outside, it was just, clouds were dark.
It was the energy, right?
It was
gone.
just very weird. The energy was gone. You would drive in the freeway. I felt like I was in a movie, I Am Legend. I'm waiting for my German
Don't you feel
Shepherd
that every
dog.
day?
Not today.
No, that you're a legend.
That's a different story. I like that, by the way. So I'm going through it, and I'm looking at the streets. I'm like, look what's going on here. You would see somebody, you felt like you were part of the rebellious community. Everybody would put their hands up. You're like,
so man, we're doing this.
But I tell you, when the war happened and it went away, the first thing people wanted was a form of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing people want is a form of entertainment. The first thing. It didn't matter if you wanted to go on vacation. It didn't matter if you wanted to go to movies. It didn't matter if you wanted to go to a park. The entire family desperately needed a vacation. I'll give you a perfect example of what happened to us a couple months ago. So February, the coronavirus becomes a little bit more public. March, official shutdown, 13, 14, you start seeing sports and leagues shutting down.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I have a Zoom with our guys, and our guys don't have makeup on. I'm like, wait a minute. The girl that always has makeup on looks like a 10 all the time. She has no makeup on. Our guys wouldn't even face the camera. They were off the camera. And I'm doing daily calls with our VPs just to kind of see how they're feeling. I said, well, Pat, this is kind of real. This is what's going on. That's what's going on. I said, great. We came together. We worked. Obviously, we had the best quarter in the history of the company, best month, all of that stuff that took place. But at the end of it, after about 3-4 months, our guys needed a break. So what do? We had a break at the Breakers, okay? At Palm
Very
Beach.
apropos.
So we brought everybody together. And you know what's the craziest thing when everybody saw each other? It was emotional.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, they're like, dude, I just wanted to see somebody.
Yeah.
How you doing? Everybody was talking to each other, the connection. So I don't know if theaters are going to go away because theaters is the cheapest form of entertainment for low-income and middle-income families. That's simple. And I highly doubt that it's going to go away as easily, as quickly as newspapers as we thought it's going to be. I do think there's going to be a transition. Quite frankly, I don't think we are at the point yet where these guys are going to be launching blockbuster movies on, streaming services and all that stuff. There's still that experiment of going to the movies, and you know how the profit margins work. All the profit from movies are made at movie theaters. They don't make
concession stands.
It's all concession
Yeah.
stands. So that is the experiment.
Frickin'
I just think they need
Twizzlers.
to be more creative about it. We'll see what's going to happen.
Well, and the pressure's on Hollywood, too, to crank out some good content. But you know what? All they care about is one thing. Are the theaters open in China? All right? That's where they're going to make their money anyway.
you
so.
are seeing
All right, so
that.
here's the question.
Yeah.
Right, here's the question. When's the next time you guys are going to go see a movie in a theater? When is it?
I went a couple weeks ago. I went a couple weeks ago and we watched Jurassic Park for like the 50th time, except this time was the second time in a movie theater.
Okay, Jurassic Park.
I
How
hope
about
I
you?
don't go again in the next 3 years minimum. Maybe
You
when
hope?
I have grandkids
Damn,
someday, I'll go.
Tom.
I have no desire to go to a theater. None.
Your kids.
Zero.
Think about your kids.
I'm just so harsh on my kids, denying them movies. No, but it's all right. I just don't like the experience that much,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
Okay, so we'll see what's going to happen. And ladies, I just want you to know, Adam is still open to going to the movies. I don't want anybody to be upset.
That's
and
the
he will
only
order your
reason I will
popcorn.
go.
Just before you order the popcorn with him, ask him, what is the popcorn trick? Because he may or may not release it.
You know,
because-
Mario and Paul went to the movies recently. They invited me, and I
Turned it
bailed
down?
on them. I bailed on them. I
Yeah.
said, guys, do you?
well, what movie was it? Were they going to watch like Gone with
There
the
was like
Wind?
one
or-
freaking movie that was out. It was like Tenet coming to Texas near you. Tenet. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
It's the same. It's the only movie
Well,
that's been out.
that was the
It's been a
movie that was
huge
supposed to
bust.
save Hollywood this summer,
Yeah.
right? And it just bombed.
Did it really bomb?
Yeah.
Tremendously?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, what story do we want to hit up next? How about we take jobs? Okay, 661,000 jobs added to the economy last month. As of October 1st, unemployment dipped from 8.4% to 7.9%, which is good. More than half the jobs in March and April have now been recovered. That's pretty impressive. More than half the jobs in March and April have now been recovered. That still remains 10.7 million jobs that had a job before the pandemic still don't have one. At the current rate, it would take another 16 months for things to get back to pandemic levels. Thoughts?
Okay, I think these are the easiest stats to manipulate right now in an election cycle because, A, there's going to be a lot more numbers added to that unemployment because of what just happened with the airlines and in the banking. And there's just a lot of layoffs in the last couple of weeks. The other thing, too, is how many of these people, and I believe there's a lot out there, that are still cool not going back to work because they're making enough money on unemployment or making more money.
I think so as well.
And I've talked to a lot of those people. You run into them, and it's still an issue. So I think this is one of those things where, hey, we're 3-4 weeks away from an election. They're going to use it however they want. I mean, that is encouraging. It's the lowest level of unemployment since the beginning of the pandemic. So hopefully it continues. But I think let's find out where we are in December based on the result of the election.
Well, you said you spoke to some people that
would prefer not to go back to work because they're making more money collecting unemployment.
Well, that was true at one point up until because obviously there was the state unemployment that on average is like $350, and then you had the federal unemployment that kicked in, and they were giving everybody $600 a week. 2/3 of people who were unemployed were getting paid more to stay home than to go to work. Cool, but that ended. There's been no stimulus deal in sight. That thing's gone back and forth and starting and restarting. We'll see where that goes. So agreed, people were getting paid to stay home more at one point. That is not the case right now. People need to be looking for jobs. I mean, people need to pivot. There's going to be some jobs, like these movie theater jobs, that might not ever come back. Certain industries that might not ever come back. You brought up something last podcast. You said how many jobs have been created in the last 200 years? It was like 1 billion jobs.
3 billion jobs.
3 billion jobs. Yeah, I underplayed that one. 3 billion jobs. So if we've learned anything during this pandemic, we thought everything's going to hell, nothing's going to happen. Certain businesses are booming, right? Zoom, all-time highs.
Yeah.
Fiverr, all-time high. I think certain industries, all-time high.
Yeah.
Things are going to change. You just got to pivot careers if you need to.
I think the conversation with your kids need to start now. And meaning, you know how parents talk to their kids and they say, parents talk to their kids and they say, hey, like I'm Armenian, Assyrian, Middle Eastern. When you grow up, you're going to be one of 3 things. You're either going to be an engineer, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a doctor. It's that simple. That's what it is. And
they literally would tell you that?
Oh, that's what you're supposed to do.
And would you disappoint them if you didn't go that path?
That's exactly what it is. Listen, till today, even my mother till today asks, when are you going to get a college degree? I'm like, Mom, never is the answer.
Mom,
your
I'm doing
son
okay.
is never going to get a college degree, right? But this is where I'm going with this. This is where I'm going with this. I think it's the bigger topic. You know how you have parents are going to have a few different topics with their kids. What's one of the topics? Sex. How are babies born? Okay. And I
leave that to the wife, by the way.
You leave that to the wife? I had it very early. Tico and Dylan, he was 4 and 6. I sat him down. I said, we were all naked in the shower. I said, we all have danglings, okay? That's what we have. I said, that dangling is going to be your favorite toy for the rest of your life. I said, that is your toy. That is nobody else's toy. One day, you're going to find a female friend that's going to help you play with that toy. But that is yours, okay? You don't play with his. I don't play with his. You play with yours. You can touch yours. You can do whatever you want to do with yours.
You had this conversation when they were 4 and 6?
4 and 6 years old.
Wow.
Like I said, I leave that to my wife.
But let me explain to you why. Because, you have kids coming over and girls are over and they're like, curious and they're touching each other and all this other. You have to have these conversations very early. And quite frankly, nowadays, with everything that's going on, if you don't teach your kids about a person coming to your kids and saying, hey, this is a secret between me and you. No one's going to know our little secret. I'm going to give you this candy. If you don't have these conversations, let me tell you, somebody else.
You're thinking of worst case scenario.
You have to have these conversations with the kids. And then you indirectly can talk about babies being born. You have to have these conversations with your kids, right? And as I'm doing this, there's the drug conversation, okay? I've had the alcohol conversation with my kids. My kid, every single time, we had one of our friends that had an alcohol problem, and I had to take this friend to rehab, all this other stuff, and another friend had to go bail him out. Multiple friends had to bail him out from jail because of drug issues and alcohol issues. This has happened my entire life. Everybody has a friend that they've gone through drug. And I'll tell them, I said, do you know who our president is? Yes, who's our president? Donald Trump. Do you know what happened to his older brother? No, Daddy, what happened to him? His older brother died. How did he die? He was an alcoholic. He drank alcohol? Yes, he drank alcohol. He died from drinking alcohol? Yes. Do you know Dylan, till today, every time he sees somebody drinking alcohol, you know what's the first thing he says? He says, are you drinking alcohol? Yes. Did you know President Trump's older brother died from alcohol? He says it till today, okay?
Amazing.
Till today he says it.
Public service
Now watch what happens. The other day, Dylan says, Daddy, the other day friends were over. They opened that one closet. We have a lot of alcohol. What do we have all that alcohol for? I don't see you drinking it. Why do we have it? Tico says, because alcohol is good when you bleed. You put alcohol on your wound.
Give me a little rum and vodka over here.
I love the fact that Tico saved the day. So then we talk about drugs. We talk about a lot of drugs. And why do people use drugs? My kids are 5, 6 years old. I'm having these conversations with them. I think the one conversation parents need to start having with their kids is about their careers. And I think it needs to start very early. Meaning, son, think about being a coder. Think about predictive analytics. Think about data. Think about skill sets that are needed today. Think about hard skills. Soft skills are hardcore needed. You got to teach your kids how to lead, respect, improve, love, all of that stuff. But you got to teach your kids some real good direction to go into. Engineer is the way to go today. Not lawyer or doctor. It's engineer. It's how are you going to go be a person that knows coding, a person that knows analytics, a person that knows things like that. I understand the part where people say, well, my kid is an art person. She wants to go to fine arts. I totally get it. I don't say you have full control about what your kids are going to do. My parents could have told me whatever they could have told me. I ended up selling insurance. I guarantee you, never in my life have my mom and dad sat me down and saying, son, one day you have to sell insurance because that's the way to go. You know. So all I'm saying is these 661,000 jobs that are lost and we're getting them back and gradually we're going back up. Parents have to talk to their kids about what the future looks like with another pandemic that comes down because the standard's been set. The next president, when a pandemic comes, has to shut down everything. And when they do, if you don't learn from this mistake, we learned which industries took the biggest hit, we're going to pay the price again. So families have to make the adjustments themselves. I think that's what needs to take
Here's
place.
my question to the both of you, because you have a daughter who's what, 14?
Yes.
Son, 10,
11.
Studs, little skater. Your kids are
Dash
8, 6, and
8,
3,
7,
4?
and 4.
Okay. Totally understand like the sexual conversation with the boys, the alcohol. I assume you let Jen have the conversation with your daughter, Senna. I assume you don't have that conversation with her. I don't know. But the business conversation, what's the appropriate age that you should speak to your kids? Like for me, I don't have kids, so this is just being presumptuous. 4, 6, 8 might be a little early
because I don't talk to them about being an engineer. I mean, I think from you're wired differently. Some people are just wired. Like if someone had told me to be an engineer, I would have been unemployed the rest of my life. I just wouldn't have been able to figure it out. It was my brain just doesn't work that way. I just try to encourage them in what they're good at, support them, and they're finding their own. I have also a 22-year-old daughter. Cum laude from Pepperdine, who's now a teacher. Wow. She's going to be a teacher, so she's student teaching. So you kind of let them follow their own paths, but support them. But yeah, communication 24/7 for us. That's what we do.
Just so you know, I'm 100% where Tom's at.
Yeah,
I'm 100% where Tom's at because I have 3 kids. Each of them have different strengths and different interests, completely different interests. But if I notice Tom likes the camera today, guess what? Media is not a bad route to go. Today. You know why? What did we learn during the pandemic with media? Media blew up.
Right.
Media blew up. Why? What's the first place we went to get the news?
Yeah.
Media.
People need information.
But you still can help steer in some kind of a direction and avoid certain things that are just not going to be happening, unless if they're going to find a way to disrupt. So, for example, I'd say this is the conversation I have with the kids, and say, Tico, I'll say, so what do you like about video games? I like this about video games. I'd say, so Tico, how would you change this video game to make it better? And he'll say, you know what I would do? I would add this, and I would add that, and I would add this, and I would add this to it. That's great. How would you change this? I would do that, and I would do this. Everything goes to, tell me how you would improve this. Okay, hey, by the way, just so you know, newspapers are taking a big hit. This and they're taking a big hit. What would you do to change that? They give you that feedback, and you get them thinking about certain industries to go into.
I'll say one thing that I had no clue what I was going to be. I know my.
You got a video you want to show us?
Well, I want to send it to Kai.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
By the way, do a drop.
Then, right?
Do an airdrop. See if you can pick it up with an airdrop.
Is that Dash skating?
Well, this is my Dash. I was going to see if this is bad advice. Can I tell Dash to be a pro skateboarder? He's only been skating since December.
First
Kai,
of all,
can you grab this?
This guy's going to be a model. Forget about this.
He's going to be a model.
Side. He's going to be on the cover of magazine. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that one thing my dad would always tell me is like, sales. Son, you got to be in sales. No matter what it is, you got to be in sales. You got to be in sales. My mom, on the other hand, zero business savvy. She would say, whatever you end up doing, just be the best version of yourself. Good. Do whatever you want. You can be a garbage man, be the best. You know how your mom constantly tells you to go to school? My mom to this day still tells me, I thought you were going to be a rabbi. Why didn't you become a rabbi? I'm like, Mom, I don't even go to temple. I'm not into that. You can be such a good rabbi. Mom, people listen to you. They like. I'm like, Mom, the rabbi thing's done. It's not happening.
Does she watch the podcast?
She will. She'll probably see this, but she's going to be very upset that I'm still. She thinks I'm a rabbi.
Just so you know, Mom, I'm also disappointed he's not a rabbi. I've been working on it for the longest. Heartbroken. when we couldn't
But
get
Mom,
him to
the
be
good
a
thing
rabbi.
is he acts like one all the time, so
Yes,
that's
of course.
good.
That's
Very
a good
well
point.
behaved.
Popcorn, when he gets the popcorn. But go ahead.
But just
Mom's going to ask you, what is the popcorn?
I think something that I've learned is that, again, I don't have kids, but all my best friends have kids and whatever. I think when you're young, you start wide, right? And then you have to, at some point, use the funnel system. So being a jack of all trades when you're 10, 12, 15, 20 is fine. But you need to hone in. You need to have a specific skill set. And you need to be a specialist. I've heard you mention this a lot. Specialist over a generalist, right?
Yeah.
Jack of all trades doesn't cut it anymore. You have to be good at one thing. And then once you're great at one thing, you can branch out from there.
And I stress, just be serious about it. If there's something that you're passionate, you're
Very
good about,
good
you just
feedback.
got to be
Very
serious
good
about
feedback.
it and attack it,
Very good feedback. Kai, let's see Dash, by the way.
Okay.
Just about everybody has to know this. Let me put it to you this way. I meet a lot of kids. I'm telling you, I meet a lot of kids. I got a lot of kids that I love. I got David Vera's son. The kid called me the other day. I had a 30-minute conversation with him on a Sunday. He wants to write a book. One of my favorite kids we have in a company. I had a lengthy conversation with him on how to write a book. He's 11 years old, by
I'll
the way.
talk to him, by the way.
Yeah.
Writer?
Will you? I mean, he's an 11-year-old kid, wants to write a book, so excited about it. You meet a lot of young kids that are studs. My nephew, my niece the other day is telling me about the economical challenges she's seeing with politics and why, she's concerned about what direction we're going with politics. And then Sean's having his, when you see kids, they're studs. This kid is a qualified stud. Dash, if you're listening to this, you know it as well. We don't have to even tell you. That's the challenge with this kid. He knows he's a qualified stud.
What's up, bruh?
Watch this.
He just
This
rolls
has been
up.
a speech on Sunday.
Watch this. Look at this. You know what would happen if I did that? Here's a crazy thing. How old is he?
He's 11, and he's only been skating. I didn't let him get a skateboard. I said, there is no way in hell you're getting a skateboard. Me and Shonda, my wife, were talking about this the other night. We were saying, I can't believe we just didn't decide until Christmas to let him have one.
Let me say one thing I learned from you guys on what you did, which was very impressive. So we're having a lunch with you at Manhattan. What was that place we had?
The Strand House.
Wonderful food, yeah. With our waiter, Ricky. Was it Ricky? Ricardo? What was the waiter's name?
I think it was Ricky.
It was
Yeah.
Ricardo.
Oh, he loved you.
Yeah.
He kept coming up to you. Oh, you got jokes? You think you're funny?
Yeah,
Bet David.
but he had good
This guy
jokes.
had no chill whatsoever.
But here's what happened. While we're having lunch and you guys are talking, Ivana showed up, right? With an E. Ivana showed up, and with an E or an A? With an A. Ivana showed up. And she showed up with a friend. They were about to go to a different place. And then she leaves. And then Shonda tells us, that she did an extensive, intense 6 weeks, what do you call it?
Lifeguard training.
Training. I said, why are you doing a lifeguard training? Well, that's how we let our kids go to the beach by themselves. And I sat there and I'm thinking, I came back, just so you know, I told this to my sister, I told this to my brother-in-law, I told this to Jen. I said, if we ever live near a beach, that is the only way I'm going to let Tico, because Tico loves the ocean. That is the only way we're going to let our kids go to the ocean by themselves is after they take a 6-week lifeguard training. You take it, buddy, go to the beach by yourself. If you don't take it, I'm not letting you go by yourself. I thought it was a brilliant way of having your kids independently go to the beach by themselves without you being there.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, and luckily we live in a place where you can do that, and the training's phenomenal. And then Ivana, I think she's going to be a lawyer. I mean, she's got the skills to be a lawyer right now, so I think I might guide her down that path.
You sure you guys are done?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, GQ Magazine's waiting for the next one. The contract will be on the plate the moment you guys
You
get
need
it
to have
done.
that sex talk with your son ASAP. And Dilly needs to have that talk every week of his life, buddy. That
Dilly-
guy's picking up waitresses at 6 years old.
And he's naturally doing it, which is very interesting. Okay, let's talk about the legendary John McAfee. Let's talk about John McAfee. Have you ever seen his documentary, by the way?
I've seen parts of it.
Okay,
He's just a
so-
weird dude, man.
Yeah,
I
so
have more
have you guys
questions
seen
than
the
comments on
documentary?
this one.
Eric, you seen his documentary? No. Kai, have you ever seen his? Have you seen his documentary or no?
I want to. I want to watch it. I mean, I have not seen it yet,
though.
no.
Well, you may change your mind after you watch it.
Oh, okay.
Have you watched it? Any one of you guys? Okay. So here's what just happened with John McAfee. Indicted for tax evasion, accused of hiding cryptocurrency yacht from IRS. Antivirus software pioneer McAfee was indicted. The prominent among the tax evasion was outrageous and erratic behavior from tech entrepreneur. The indictment alleges McAfee earned millions from promoting cryptocurrencies, consulting work, speaking engagements, and selling the rights to his life story for a documentary, but did not file tax returns from 2014 to 2018. Authorities also alleged McAfee concealed assets from the IRS, including real estate, a yacht, a car, and cryptocurrency. Was indicted on June 15, but the document was unsealed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So McAfee is facing even more legal trouble. On Monday, he was sued by the SEC for improperly promoting cryptocurrency ICOs. Thoughts on McAfee?
Is he going to do time? I mean, will he actually step foot in a jail, in a prison?
Chance.
Okay.
No chance.
This guy, I remember following him in like Inc. magazine or the big business magazines, and they'd have all these profiles on him. How did he get caught? He was so good at being evasive, and they caught him in Spain, and they're going to extradite him here. But what a classic case of, the string just ran out on this guy, right? Ended.
The chances of him going to jail are very slim. Right? The chances of him even is he? What country is he in? Spain? Is that where he is?
Spain. That's where they got him.
Extradition is that even happening?
Yeah,
They're
it
not
is.
bringing it.
No, I think it is. By the way, the SEC filing was 55 pages long. That's how thick the dossier was on the charges for this guy.
What was your take on him? From you interviewed a sit-down interview, 2-hour interview with this guy. What was your take on this guy? Brilliant guy, though, right?
Yeah. So I tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed my sit-down with him. But I'm gonna give you the backstory. On
Where
how this
was
took
it?
place.
By the
I'll
way?
tell you exactly how the backstory was. So I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, doing some business, and I'm meeting with Arthur Laffer, which from the Laffer curve. Arthur Laffer, he was on the Bush advisor on the finance side with Reagan. He's done stuff with George. He's done stuff with a lot of different people. Okay, so we're in Tennessee. We're at Barnes & Noble, and Mario is in communication with McAfee's camp. So they call and they say, okay, great. McAfee's ready if you guys want to have a meeting with them. Where? At his house. Okay, we don't have the address. We start driving to his house. We pull up to his house. I'm on a call with Tom. I'm in my car. Mario and Luis go inside to set up, okay? No joke. I'm in my car. I'm talking to Tom. I'm like, I'll be inside in a minute.
Different Tom.
Yeah.
Yes.
It wasn't you.
I'm on a phone. This is 3 years ago. So Mario and Luis go inside to set up, and all of a sudden Mario texts me, Pat, they're not comfortable with you being in the car. I'm like, I'll finish the call. He said, no, you have to come inside. They just frisked us. I said, they just what? He said, they just frisked us. And our buddy Luis wasn't too comfortable about the situation. So I'm like, all right, I'll come inside to see what's going on. So I go inside. They're all looking at me funny, like, who the hell is this guy? I'm like, hey, fellas, how you doing? And tatted up. 10 AK-47s on the table right there.
10 AK-47.
Is this Cuba?
I'm giving you a low number,
What?
by the way. I'm giving you a
For
low
real?
number.
This is
I'm
in
dead serious with
Tennessee?
you. Yes.
Okay.
So we go inside. The guys were like, who are you? I'm like, hey, what's up? How you doing? I'm Patrick Bet-David. So I said, who are you? I'm a former U.S. Army Ranger. I'm a former Navy SEAL in their town. I said, oh, that's great. I served at the 101st Airborne. What was your MOS? 63 Bravo. It's a Hotel 8 specialized. I can go out there and do some stuff with the, some of the trucks that I had a bunch of FMTVs, LMTVs, I had 15 Hummers myself. What unit were you at? 326 engineers. Get the fuck, come here, man. Bring out the good whiskey, man. We're going to have some. All of us say, hey, listen, we got a couple girls upstairs. You want to go upstairs? I said, I'm cool. He says, it's good before the interview. I said, no, I'm totally fine, bro. And I'm like, Mario, Luis, you got, and I'm teasing them. Mario said, no, I'm good. So we're having this drink. There's literally girls upstairs. Then all of a sudden, all you hear is, dun, 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 like something is opening, okay? And you hear 8 German Shepherds just barking all over, running on, loud. This is loud. We're in a cul-de-sac, houses on the bottom, back is wide open with a bunch of land, and these dogs are. I said, what's going on? He said, oh, John is here. I said, okay, great. So we go and John shows up with his girl, and he comes in, keeps wiping his nose like 50 times. And,
allergies.
Allergies, yeah. At the time, It's a very big allergy season. So we sit down to do the interview. He's got a gun right here, okay, on him while we're doing the interview. In the middle of the interview, it's about 43 minutes into the interview, I believe. In the middle of the interview, somebody knocks on the door. This person knocks on the door. I'm just kind of like, I'm not even paying attention to the interview. Matter of fact, if you pull it up, you got to pull it up. Go to John McAfee's interview. In the middle of the interview, I'm sitting there and I'm talking to him. Somebody knocks on the door. One of the Rangers jumps up to the door with a gun. Who goes there?
Who goes there?
In the middle of the interview.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I haven't told you the story?
No.
Okay, type in John McAfee.
I can't
right
believe
there.
he agreed to do an interview.
Okay, so go right there, click on that, and skip, just mute the audio until I can find the location. Keep going slowly. Okay, keep going.
He looks nervous.
Right there. Okay, well, that's
Gun on his hip.
Keep going. It should come up any minute now when a guy walks. If you go a little, so you guys got to see
Is that
this.
straight vodka he's drinking?
Yeah, it's straight vodka he's drinking. By the way, all of a sudden, I want to really find this because you have to see the reaction. That's what was crazy about it. My camera guy was so worried. He thought it's over. He thought there's going to be a shooting. Keep going a little faster to see if anything comes up. Right there. Okay, 43 minutes. I don't know how to remember that, but 43 minutes. Okay, watch this. Okay, pause it. Go back 5 seconds.
Let's hear what's going.
Make it.
If I
watch
want
this.
to get to Ecuador from Hong Kong, the last country
Look at
in
the
the world
gun.
I'd go through is Russia. You've got 50 different options. There are even direct flights from Hong Kong to Ecuador. Why the heck is he going through Russia?
Holy crap.
So, I, it's hard for me to say, is it good?
Tat it
Is
up.
it bad? I don't know the facts.
Looks like Honduras or something.
By the way,
You didn't edit that out of the interview.
No.
And he
Look,
didn't ask you to stop rolling?
Not at all.
He didn't even blink.
I didn't even blink. He didn't even blink. But the point is this. So, but these are some of the stories people telling, like, oh, whatever, it's being exaggerated. That's exactly
Keep
what
it.
happened.
Roll the
Okay,
tape.
so-
Isn't it great when you have a story like that? You can say, "Let me show you." Right? You got the
Show
video.
you. Oh,
I have a story like that. Do you remember Calvin Ayre? He was the founder of Bodog.com, the online gambling site. He was on the cover of the Forbes billionaire issue.
Yes.
Probably about 12 years ago.
Yes.
Just an eccentric, crazy guy. I used to own this magazine called Post, and it was a great magazine. It was a luxury lifestyle magazine and sports magazine. So we just went into athletes' homes and never showed them in uniform and ballers, man. It was just a cool magazine. He loved it. He was living in Costa Rica and Vietnam and Vancouver, but he loved the magazine because we sent it to him. So he flew to Phoenix twice to go to a couple of our parties, right? Just to come, he flew to Phoenix from Costa Rica. And then he taught me how to, the only time I've ever played poker in my life, one time, he taught me how to play Texas Hold'em. And I kind of learned for 15 minutes, but that was it. I was horrible at it. Then he invites me to Costa Rica. And I go out there, and we were going to do this photo shoot with him. And we show up, and we're going, man, it would be cool if we did something in the bathtub. Oh, hang on. He makes a call. He has 5 chicks over there in a second in the bathtub with a rubber ducky. And then, hey, he shows up at the door. He opens up the door. He had a Post magazine T-shirt on and with a glass of vodka at 9 in the morning. And then you look around, and he lived on on a residential street, but he owned 2 houses each on each side just for security. He had a bulletproof Hummer, the whole thing, just like that. And I'm going to myself, this is a Tuesday night for this guy. This is totally normal. This is an average day for this guy.
Oh,
How
my
do you keep
gosh.
up that pace?
Yeah, so some of the, by the way, here's a crazy story about John McAfee. So this interview's happening. We have a good time. We leave. We're having all this conversation together. We post the video. And there's a couple comments he made about price of cryptocurrency. He said it's going to go up to $48,000 in a different interview. And anyways, long story short, one of the short clips gets 5-6 million views in a span of like a couple days when we post on Facebook, okay? McAfee is got probably some of the most loyal followers in the crypto world. That people need to know this. He has a following in the crypto world like no other. They adore this guy. They love this guy. At the same time, he has a lot of haters in the cryptocurrency world that can't stand it because some claim that he tells people don't sell crypto, but he sells us crypto, and then it goes down. It's so easy to do market
It's like a pump
manipulation.
and dump type of
It's so
thing.
easy to do that with crypto, right? On the back end. So, in his documentary, there's a lot of weird stories. One of the stories was, he had all these dogs in the back, and his dogs would play. And his next door neighbor, who sold his company apparently, and he retired, and he bought a house right next to him in the Caribbean. I think it's in the Caribbean. He retires like, listen, John, I didn't come here to have a dog bark in a backyard nonstop. I made all my money to go to an island and retire so I can do whatever I want to do. And you're next to me. Every day I have to hear about dogs barking. He says, I can do whatever I want to do. It's my property. McAfee says this. Apparently, allegedly. Long story short, the owner of this house gets pissed off. He puts poison in a meat, throws it over. McAfee's dog eats it. McAfee comes back with his dog dead, and they find that he ate poison. And then he finds that this guy did it. He hires somebody to go take him out, so he gets killed. The neighbor gets killed.
No.
Yes, this is the guy. So this is the guy you're talking about. Anyways, so that's one of the part of the stories. Who he marries in the documentary says, who'd you marry? He says, this is my wife. He says, why'd you marry her? She gives the best blowjob I've ever had in my life. This is what he says in the documentary. He says, that's why I married her. I just want you to know this.
That's marriage material for him. Boom.
This is why I say you may not enjoy the documentary,
Right.
okay? So you're talking about a guy like this, John McAfee, is where he's at, right? So what's going to happen to him if social media was around when John McAfee was first coming up and he sold McAfee? He would have probably had 50 million followers. He's one of the original playboys. All these guys that wanted to be playboys, they followed a lot of his steps of what he did. He was one of the original playboys on what he did. So what's going to happen to him, I think, when you're playing with fire and you need a lot of attention and you're no longer getting the kind of attention you did at one point, your time's going to come. It's not like you can't do this forever. And when it comes, it's not pretty. It is not going to be pretty because rumor has it in the streets he's running out of money.
Yeah.
And when you're running out of money, you do desperate things. When you start doing desperate things, you eventually get caught.
How old do you think he is now?
I'm going to put him in his early 60s.
Oh,
I don't know his age, but I'm going to put him in the early 60s.
He looks like a loose cannon. Like when
75,
he gets desperate, who knows what he's going to do?
75.
75.
Here's
what
the
I'm
big
saying.
question, Pat.
He's falling off,
What do
huh?
you think John McAfee tells his kids when he's having that sex talk with them? I bet that's a...
Get
I bet
them
that's
blowjobs,
marry the
buddy.
one with the
Marry the
best.
girl with the plasma.
Yeah.
What I do is I look for the woman who has no teeth. That's what I do, and I marry her. That's John McAfee's
You know what? I'm
go-to
glad.
plan,
I'm
huh?
glad he got arrested. After hearing all these stories,
Yeah.
I hope he goes to jail.
Yeah.
Karma, man. It caught up with him.
Even in the comments right now, we have people being like, "He's the man. He's epic."
Yeah,
He's-"
I'm telling you,
And then
he's
people
got
are
a-
like, "He's a scumbag. He's the worst."
That's exactly, that should
Polarizing,
tell you
you know?
exactly who
Completely
he is.
polarizing, yeah?
Exactly who he is. But
Guys, leave a comment what you think about this guy, John McAfee.
what you-
Epic or the worst?
what you have to realize is he is who he is. He's telling, there's nothing about him that he hides, though.
All authentic.
That's the part. Meaning, at least the benefit about a guy like this is he's telling you this is who I am.
Yeah.
He's not making stuff up to make himself look good
Right.
or bad. He just said, this is who I am.
Love me or hate me, it is what
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
Where
Wow.
were the threats coming from where he had to have that type of firepower backing him up? Did he have legit death threats, or was that just part of his persona?
Let me put it to you this way. He said, I don't use regular phones. He says, I have the kind of a phone right now that I would never, he says, I can get any information I want out of your phone. The guy was, you know, there's a level of paranoia. You know,
Yeah.
they say only the paranoid survive. But there's also the level where you skip it. You can get close to schizophrenia. Like you start imagining like the world is after you and all this other stuff. I mean, if you got that kind of worry about people coming after you, you're not living a good life. It's a very difficult life to live.
I mean, you get a knock on the door, and all of a sudden you're,
Right,
you're
you're
busting
trapped.
out your
Just saw
guns.
that.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
is the
Yeah.
craziest thing right there.
Yeah, that
You
was the
didn't
UPS
but I got to
driver.
give you credit.
What?
You got guns all around you.
Yeah.
You got a drunk psychopath with a gun on him interviewing
around
him.
a lot of weird
you got
stuff.
Pat didn't flinch.
There
Knock
are
on the
some
door.
parts
all
of
right,
my
let's go.
life that will not be revealed.
Wow.
But one day, some people will reveal it. It's just some parts is...
So thumbs up, thumbs down for your take on this guy.
about what? Him
Just
being-
overall, like
Look, you can't... Here's the reality of it. Who likes paying taxes?
Nobody.
Who has ever said, I love paying taxes?
Trump.
Biden.
No one. Yeah, $750
Yeah.
is what it is.
I got
No
crushed.
one
$750
likes
bucks.
paying taxes, but the one thing you can't do, it's this. It's crazy. I read an article one time. There was a company that was going around saying, you know, there's no law written that you have to pay taxes. And they were campaigning around this until eventually the guy got caught and he had to pay taxes. So I get the rebellious side of I don't have to pay any taxes, but you're living in a country where you got to pay taxes. If you avoid that, there's a price to be paid, and you got to pay the price. So let's talk about Trump. Let's go into Trump here. By the way, if you're watching this, if you're enjoying this, press the thumbs up. We got a big announcement to make to you here shortly, which we are very, very excited about. And you know, outside of that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, press that sub button and press that notification button so every time we go live, the podcast appears on your phone. So let's talk about Trump. So Trump gets COVID, you know, and he comes out on the date was, what was the date?
Thursday night, so the 1st.
October 1st at 11:54. Kai, if you can pull up his tweet, he comes up at 11:54 p.m. Look at that. At 11:54, he comes out and says, tonight, First Lady and I tested positive for COVID-19. First Lady and I tested positive for COVID-19. We will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. Kai, I think you pressed your mic and I hear additional noise. Turn it off. Oh, yeah. So, and I tested positive for COVID-19. We will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together. Okay. FYI, that is the most liked tweet he's ever posted in his career, just so you guys know. There's never been a tweet that got more likes than this tweet. Okay. Then he goes to the next video. Okay, click on the next video. He posts this video. We don't have to watch the whole thing. He's kind of talking about his experience.
We're getting great reports from the doctors.
Press pause.
This is an incredible hospital.
Look at the views, 26.5 million likes. Go to the next one. The next video he posts here. This is October
I wanna begin
3rd, a
by
day
thanking
before.
all of the
If you look at it,
incredible
no tie on.
medical professionals, the
Can you
doctors,
pause the audio,
nurses.
Kai? No tie on. just giving a message. His hair is not fixed. You can tell he's not in the best place there. 37.7 million views. Go to the next one. Here's another one update he gives October 2nd. So we just watch it in chronological order, but backwards, because guy's from Norway. But we went from the 4th to the 2nd. This is the first one he did after tweeting it out. It got 33.2 million views. So let's do the math. So he first tweets it out, 1.8 million likes, 33.2 million views, 39 million views, 27 million views of him saying, I'm getting through this, right? And then he comes out and he starts leaving Walter Reed, and he's going out there in the public. And on both sides, you heard stuff on CNN, people on CNN coming out saying, we're not surprised this happened. Pelosi, we're always praying for the president, but we're not surprised it happened. A lot of people are not surprised by it happened. We're not surprised by it happened. A former Obama staffer sent out a tweet. I don't think, Kai, you have that, but I'll read it because I have it here on my phone. A former Obama staffer tweeted out and said, it's been against my moral identity to tweet this for the past 4 years, but I hope he dies. Zara Rahim. If you want to pull that up, they can kind of see the tweet. It was taken that immediately after he posted it. She posted it. Then Steve Cox, I hope they both die. Originally, he says, I hope they both die. He originally was meaning Trump and Melania. Then he retweeted Steve Cox. Says, I was talking about Trump and Biden, not Melania. She seems nice. You quoted me out of context. Shame. Okay. Now, all this stuff is happening. I got more stuff I can talk about this, but I'm going to turn it over to you. What are your thoughts about what's going on with Trump having COVID?
I like how Cox says, shame on you, when he texts something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, well, let's go back to the announcement. And the reason I think that he got all those likes is literally, I think you can say this, in all the 4 years he's been president, that's the first time he ever seemed human. It humanized him, that he can actually contract a disease, be a little bit humble, be a little bit vulnerable. And I think that resonated with a lot of people that were moved by that thing. But then reality sets in a couple days later, and he's a fighter, and he's in an election battle right now, and it's do or die. And I think the last thing he wants to do is show weakness. So I think it probably scared him right away, especially with the fact that his wife had it, and then he's thinking about all the people, he's still a human. He's thinking about all the people he was around, and he's probably thinking to himself, man, a lot of people probably do have the potential of catching this, and this is not going to look good. This is not a great look for him at all. But then it didn't take long. I mean, by the weekend, he was back in fighter mode. And, and then the drive-by that he did at the hospital on Sunday. And now he's back in the White House, and he's recovering there. And he plans on going out campaigning again. So, I think the most important thing is, I think it shows to people that you can contract this at a later age and hopefully be okay. I mean, the whole stigma around this thing is if you get it, you're going to die. I mean, every time you hear about it in the NFL, we got to shut these games down. No college, everything is kind of an overreaction a little bit. I mean, we've had to be careful and safe and everything, but it's proven that, college kids aren't dying, just dropping dead by playing college football and contracting COVID. So I ultimately, personally think it's going to help him. I think it's an advantage for him to have gone through this, survived it, and have the last 4 weeks with this in his background.
I didn't even know he had COVID. This is me, first time me hearing about it today. A lot to unpack here. Let's just talk about a 72-year-old man surviving
While
this.
you're doing this, I'm just curious. Folks, if you're watching this, does this help him? Does this hurt him? Why? Don't just say yes or no. Say yes because of this, no because of ... Go ahead, Adam.
Yes or no. So he's not just any average, is he 72, 74? How old is he?
74.
He's not just some average 74-year-old who contracted COVID. It's the freaking president of the United States. They're not going to let this guy die. Like, they're going to give him every single treatment, every single steroid, every single drug to make sure that he lives and survives, straight up. So whether it's not some just 75-year-old dude in Iowa that contracted it, good luck, buddy. Like, it's the freaking president. They're going to give him everything he needs. What I think, I did a poll on my Instagram. Does this help or hurt him? 60% of people said that this helps him. 40% obviously think it's hurt. I don't know how this helps him per se. I mean, getting COVID, I don't think is a good thing. I mean, at the end of the day, do you want COVID or do you not want COVID? I'll go with the not COVID option, thanks. But let's just talk about who around his inner circle got COVID, right? His wife. So Hope Hicks, that was the big news, I think, early that Friday. Kayleigh McEnany, the White House press secretary.
Yes.
Several U.S. senators, Tom Tillis, Ron Johnson, Governor Chris Christie, COVID, not a healthy guy, by the way. Good luck with him. Kellyanne Conway, his homegirl, Bill Stepien, Trump campaign manager, Ronna McDaniel, RNC chairwoman, Mike Lee, U.S. senator, Nick Luna, assistant to the president, his closest inner circle, including his wife and secretary, press secretary, all COVID. This might humanize these people, but it also shows, holy crap, if COVID can seep its way into the highest office in the land and everyone surrounding him, this is pretty serious stuff right here. Okay? I don't want, like, anyone who wished the president death, you got to reassess where you're coming from. Okay? I don't care if you're on the left, you're on the right. Like, if I could go back and I thought, and I liked Obama. I wasn't like a huge, nutty Obama fan, but I thought he was a good president. I thought he was a good person. If there were people on the right wishing Obama death, which I'm sure some people were, I would tell that person, dude, what's wrong with you? What the hell's wrong with you? Mm-hmm. Same thing goes for Trump. If there's people out there on the left who are wishing for death for the president of the United States, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, relax. It's not that serious. Someone texted me the other day or messaged me, because I was, when I did the story, whether you think it's helpful or hurts, and I was basically kind of just playing in the middle. What do you think? What do you think? They messaged me, how could you possibly even consider voting for Hitler Jr.? I'm like, what are you talking about? Donald Trump is Hitler Jr. I go, listen, and because my sister is actually a Trump fan. My sister, doesn't know what she's doing politically, just in general, not like she.
I want to know who your mom is voting for. That's
my
what
mom would not vote for Trump, not whatsoever.
But if you're a rabbi, she would consider it.
Yes, of course. My grandmother voted for Trump the first time around. Now she's in Michigan. Now no chance she would vote for Trump. So I have family members that can go left or right. But I told this person that texted me about the Hitler Jr., I go, be careful with the fucking words you're using. You're calling the president of the United States, whether you hate him or love him, Hitler Jr. Do you know how absurd you sound? Do you know how absolutely absurd you sound? So what I think this country needs, whether you're on the left or the right, is just a little respect for the other side of the aisle. I'm not a Trump fan, that's no secret.
Yeah.
But I respect the 40% of our country that does respect Trump, that does passionately love Trump. So I just try to think, if the other shoe is on the other foot and Obama or Clinton or whoever was contracted COVID, whatever you think of them, you don't wish death upon somebody.
Yeah.
Okay? So get it together, people.
So that's where you're at. And by the way, your grandma, who switched from Trump to now Biden, I don't know if you know or not, she has a grandson that's thinking about switching from Hillary to Trump. I don't know if you know that or not.
No,
your grandma.
Different grandson.
He's thinking about it.
We still got our bet, do we not?
Yeah, I told you yesterday what I would do with that. My position hasn't changed. Although I do think this is a big curveball, and it can go many different directions, and a couple things on what I mean many different directions. By the way, if you can put the Washington Post story up, and what Chris Evans from Hollywood said, here's the Washington Post tweet. This post has been removed. The Post has removed the tweet picture below, which was written Thursday and released through an automated program because the subsequent news of President Trump infection rendered it tasteless. Opinion. Imagine what it would look like to never have to think about Trump again. This is from Washington Post. So they took responsibility, didn't take responsibility. It's kind of like, well, at least they did it, but it's automated. We didn't do it. We would never say something like, it's more like an automated. I don't know a lot of automated titles that create things like this. This is an opinion, which means somebody came up with a title. Here's what Chris Evans just tweeted out a couple days ago, 19 hours ago, where Trump, first let me read Trump's tweet on okay, perfect. It says, I will be leaving the Great Walter Reed Medical Center today at 6:30 p.m. feeling very good, really good. Don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life. We have developed under the Trump administration some really good, great drugs and knowledge. I feel better than I did 20 years ago, okay? So go back. And then Chris Evans, this is AKA Captain America, by the way. You guys got to read. When Captain America says stuff, you got to listen to it. He said, don't be afraid of COVID. You've been under round-the-clock care by the best doctors using the best drugs. Do you really think everyone has access to that? Yes, Chris Evans does.
I totally agree.
Sadly, I'm sure you're aware of that disparity. You just don't care. This is reckless to a shocking degree, even for you. Okay? Are you saying you agree with that?
I actually 100% agree with Chris Evans on that.
Which part?
That he has the best care in the world. Yeah. It's so easy for Donald Trump to say, don't be worried about COVID. Meanwhile, we have 200,000 Americans that have died and 1 million people around the world.
He didn't say worried, he said scared.
Guys, this is... Okay, you can't play those cards that you're playing here. This is a 74-year-old man that got COVID. Okay, let me ask you a question. Does Herman Kim have access to the same drugs that he has?
No.
Yes, he's
No.
The moment you're officially qualified rich, you have access to same drugs that money buys.
Does he have access to good drugs? Sure. Does he have access to the same care as the President of the United States?
Let me ask you a question.
Herman Cain hasn't been relevant in 20 years.
Let me ask you a question. Why is O.J. Simpson free today?
Because Borat interviewed. It was a great interview.
OJ.
La, 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 la.
Why is O.J. Simpson free today?
Because he had a great lawyer. He had Johnny Cochran.
Why does he have great lawyers?
Because he had that money.
So because he has money. So how about the criticism of a lot of famous people that have gone away with...
You don't think that wealthy people have died from COVID? What are you saying?
What I'm trying to tell you is, if he was going to die from COVID, whether you give him medicine or not, if the body was weak, he's going to die. So you can't take one position and just kind of play with that. I stay in the middle with this. No, I don't go Chris Evans, but I also don't go the other side. I'm in the middle with this, okay? Let's just say he makes it through this. Great. Say he makes it through this, okay? Let me tell you what's about to happen here. Here's a couple things that's about to happen. On one end, when it comes down to marketing, you have to know who's the better marketer, period. There is no question Trump's the better marketer than Biden.
Well, yeah,
Number one.
obviously.
Number one, Hope Hicks, semi-genius. I've spoken to her a few times before. We were trying to do an interview 4 years ago, and she is at 23, 24 years old. She spoke like she's 45 years old. Kellyanne Conway, she's a genius to put the words together. She's a wordsmith. If you don't think she is, you're the fool. Because if you ever watch her interviews, she may have helped the last election save Trump, because here's a woman that's
without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
She needs to work on her own household, though.
And by the way, they posted a picture yesterday. She actually came out positive, and she's with her daughter right now, spending time, which is good to see them together with the family. Kellyanne Conway. But you go through even Obama against McCain. Who had a better marketing team? Obama. Yeah. Sanders against Biden. Who had a better marketing team? Sanders had a better marketing team. Trump is going to know how to use this. They have to know that. And the one part is, now imagine in the next debate, the topic of COVID-19 comes up. Trump says, Biden, you've never had it before. You don't know what it feels like to have COVID. I do. Believe me, you can't talk from experience. I have experience. Let me teach you. The world is going to say, damn it. If he uses it to say, I know what it is to have COVID. I have personal experience. Biden, you don't. You can't speak on this topic. I can speak on it from experience. That gives him an edge, and he's going to know how to use that to his advantage. Period. That's one part that's going to be taking place. Next, 1.8 million people click and like on his tweet. 39 million views, 33 million views, 27, 28, 29 million views. People have sympathy for him right now. This is the time when people have sympathy. If there's ever that you don't want your opponent to get sympathy votes, it's today. Sympathy votes are very weird votes, because sympathy votes is not about whether you like the other guy or not. Sympathy votes are, oh man, I just feel bad. Even if you're right, people will go to the sympathy side. Say husband and wife argue. Say the husband is right. Wife is crying. You will generally say what? What, dude, come on, bro. Mary, I'm so sorry. You understand what I'm saying? It's sympathy votes. Sympathy votes are powerful votes. And they know how to use sympathy votes. Now, on the complete opposite side, what the left is going to do is what? Do you want somebody leading a nation this reckless? Do you want somebody that is this reckless, that has access to the button? Do you want somebody that has no control of decision making, and he doesn't listen to anybody, and he's going out there and driving around in this limo, and God knows who else is getting COVID, and look how many people around him are getting it. He doesn't care. He doesn't wear the mask, all this other stuff, right? We're about to find out in the next 4 weeks if this is going to end up helping this guy out or not. But I think from a marketing standpoint, it's going to help him out
Joe
tremendously.
Biden's listening to you right now, and he's going to go try to contract it today. Yeah. He wants it. He wants that sympathy.
Well, I tell you one thing, though. Let me give you the other crazy thing. So I'm having a talk with a couple of my guys. And so interesting. So one of the guys I know, he not in our company, in a different company, he has some issues in his marriage, okay? And he says, dude, let me just tell you what I got to tell my company. I said, what's that? I just really don't want to go to an event that they're having. I'm going to tell my boss that I got COVID. I said, what do you mean? I said, I'm just going to tell him. I said, well, you're serious? He says, yes. I said, dude, you're going to tell me you got COVID? I said, you got to show if you got it. He says, yeah, I know, but I'm not W-2, okay? So I'm going to say I have COVID. I said, he can still ask, and he can still fire you. He says, yeah, I know they can still fire me. I said, you taking that risk? I'm taking that risk. It's okay. So anyways, he takes that position. Guess what happens a week later?
He got COVID.
No, he you're fired.
He said that because he didn't want to go with his wife?
Because he and his wife are having issues.
Oh, okay,
but he doesn't
I got
want
you.
to say he and his
Got
wife are
it.
having
Okay.
issues. So he just said, I got COVID. Okay. I think there is a very big power play if Biden in the next week comes out saying there's COVID because he doesn't have to debate.
You think there's a power play with him saying he got COVID?
Yeah, I
Dude,
think,
no chance.
But
this
wait
guy.
a minute.
Come on. You're throwing stuff against the wall.
I'm not throwing stuff against the wall. You're stipulating. You're saying, and I'm giving back. You commented it, and I'm coming back to you, and I'm responding to what you said. I didn't come up with the idea. You said it yourself. So
what did I say?
We're talking about this whole thing about what could possibly happen.
Biden's living in some bubble of emotion right now. He ain't getting COVID.
I think Tom said that. What if he comes back and Biden says he has COVID?
Gotcha. Tom said it.
If he says that, if he comes out with it, it's also a strategic move. Not necessarily if he goes intentionally gets it. If they say he has symptoms, we're worried, we want to cancel the debate because it's the responsible thing to do. Then you got the people on one side that are voting for the quality they value the most, responsibility. Biden seems so responsible. He cares about the people around him. Then the other side is people like Tom that they're going to say, freaking Trump is not afraid. Even 4 days after having it, he's going out there still getting the job done. He's not showing any. That's the kind of a leader I want. We're going to see which one of those two America has more of.
Yeah.
Well, what do we always talk about? There's 12% of this country that...
10.
Is it 10?
42, 44, 4. That's
okay,
90%
so just to back
10
up, 42% of the country is going to vote for Trump.
No matter what.
42.
42.
Not 49,
No,
not 32.
no,
People
42.
out there listening.
Well, 44
42.
Democrat.
44% are going to vote for Biden,
Yes.
straight up. That's
Yes.
the number.
Yes.
So 40. So that's 86.
Yes.
Yeah. So now we have 14 remaining. 4% are going to maybe vote for Joe Jorgensen or the Libertarian or the Green Party. So we're talking 10% of the country. Is that the number? 10% of the country is independent.
Yes.
So that's what's going to move the needle. The 10% of this country in Ohio, in Pennsylvania, bless you, COVID.
In the States.
Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Florida, North Carolina, Arizona, all these swing states. That's really who matters. I don't really care if you're in New York, California. There's certain states that don't matter. The 10% in those states, they're going to determine this election. So they're going to have to determine whether they think.
Go back to Captain
Him
America's
catching COVID is a good
comment,
thing.
right?
Go
If
to
you can.
Captain America's tweet.
Here's the thing that really annoys me about that comment. You know what? What's so wrong with saying don't be afraid? Why do you have to live your life in fear? I mean, it's okay to respect the fact that COVID is out there, but I don't want to be afraid of it. I mean, there are people are just wired so different. I know people right now that still won't let their kids go hang out, won't let them leave the house, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm going, at some point, you got to get out from underneath the rock here. I mean, life is a series of risks that you take.
Yeah.
I think I got COVID. I really do. I went to New York in February. In February, I was at JFK Airport. I was at Times Square at a hotel. I was at 30 Rock. I mean, I was in New York, and I came back and I was sick. I was really sick. I mean, down for a week, but then I was back. So I thought I had it. But I mean, my God, why can't we let some people be okay with not living their life in constant fear? I think it's inspiring that someone can get it and come back from it. We have this neighbor. This is funny. We were going for a walk one day, and this lady, she was by her house. She was sitting outside, and she was just super friendly. And Shonda just goes to her, "Hey, how's it going?" "Oh, good. And I saw she had a bottle of wine out there, and it was like 10:30 in the morning on a Sunday.
How old is she?
She was like 80. She was 80, and she was super spunky. And she goes, "Oh, hey, how you doing? How you feeling?" "Oh, I'm feeling just fine. I think it's that Viking blood in me that's keeping me alive." I go, "Oh yeah, why is that?" "Well, I'm from Minnesota, and I'm just hardy. Well, my husband died 2 weeks ago." So her husband was 84, contracted COVID, died. She caught it, lived. Here's the funniest thing about the story, though. They cremated him, and his favorite car was his sitting in the garage. So they just put him in an urn, and he's sitting on the driver's seat of his car inside the garage. But she is just, it was unbelievable how she is just like, her husband literally died 2 weeks ago from COVID, but she survived at the age of 84, and he's sitting there in the garage in a jar on the driver's seat. So
drinking wine. 2 weeks after.
Look, she wasn't, hiding or.
Was she happily married, or was she like kind of glad?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not so sure where she's at.
I don't know if she took him out or not.
You may want to ask the question.
Yeah.
My husband died of COVID. Time to drink.
Yeah. You said she's from Minnesota?
Yeah, she was originally from Minnesota.
She's from Minnesota.
I think that's
it is kind of the Middle East, though. So of U.S. So
Midwest.
But by the way, you know what would be funny to make this year to say don't be afraid is for Trump's camp to go find a clip of Captain America saying "Don't be afraid" in one of the movies, and putting it right here. The man who said "Don't be afraid" is afraid. You know, so but you know these guys here that they're going back and forth, taking shots at each other.
I think the bigger question, can I ask, is why is the mask wearing and COVID so politicized? Right? Like, why is it so politicized? Like, okay,
On which side?
On every side.
Yeah.
Why are you like on the left? You're anti-American. You're anti-science if you don't wear a mask. But if you're on the right and people are wearing masks, you're taking away my liberty. Like, why is it so political? Like, it's not, the COVID's just not just happening in America. It's happening all around the world, right?
Yeah.
In Mexico, it's horrible. In India, it's horrible. In Brazil, it's horrible. There's Europe is going on lockdown round 2. Why is it so politicized in America? Why is it so, you wear a mask, you must be a Democrat. You don't wear a mask, you must be a Republican. Like, why is it, like, just as someone who, is center left, you think I like wearing a mask? You think I want to go out on Saturday night and wear a freaking mask? You think this is cool for me?
Tell the audience
you think this is
wore
fun?
your Gucci mask that you got
Yeah,
on.
no, that's our boy Ricky Aguilar. But why is it so politicized? So, like, I took a picture the other day of me not wearing a mask. I got hate from liberal friends of mine. How dare you not wear a mask? I'm like, bro, I'm all by myself.
Where were you?
Wherever I was in, I don't even know. I was just outside, wherever I was, just normal.
Yeah.
How do you not wear a mask? You're setting a bad precedent. People on the right, go get them, buddy. You show these people you don't need a mask.
You know,
why is it so politicized?
Trump says he's going to start campaigning again. I mean, he said this is not going to slow him down. Doesn't he have to do 14 days of quarantine? How do you get out of
Trump don't give a shit, man. He's gonna campaign COVID or no COVID.
There's a part of that that's so attractive to an audience, but there's also part of that that's very unattractive to an audience. You know,
he's the John McAfee of politics. People either love him or hate him.
You know,
I wouldn't go that far. No, I wouldn't go that far.
I think so.
No, come on.
You don't think
I mean,
people? What was
Dude.
incorrect about what I said?
What do you mean he's a John McAfee of politics? I mean, what kind of thing?
Meaning you either love him or hate him.
If it's that category,
That's what I'm
yes,
saying.
But, it's if it's that part, you're
Would it
talking
be
about.
fair to say that Trump supporters love this man?
Or hate him?
No. Trump supporters absolutely love this man.
I don't know if all of them do.
But
I
for the
think-
most part.
No, I think there's a group that just simply vote because they're scared of what's going on the complete opposite side. I'm being that serious with you. And they're like I have a very close friend. You guys know the name. I'm not going to say this name on TV because this person wouldn't want people to know which way this person leans. They cannot stand Trump at all, but they're going to vote for Trump simply because they have no desire to see what the other direction is going. If you're asking about Trump's true believers, they are crazy about him.
Crazy
100%.
about
So you're
him.
talking about true believers.
I'm talking about the Joshes of the world, the whoever's of the world that he
No
can do
and it's not
no
even
wrong.
just
Tom
him.
might even be in that camp. I'm not so
it's
sure yet.
people that like bullying bullies.
Yeah.
It's people
Or
that
just-
like bullying bullies. Look, you watch Hunger Games. What's Hunger Games all about? It's the government controlling people. You read Robin Hood is about what? The government taxing more of its citizens. It's not Robin Hood doesn't go and take money from the rich people and give it to poor. Robin Hood takes money from the government and gives it to the people. That's what statesmen essentially do to say minimize and lower the taxes a little bit. Why are you taking so much money from everyday workers? So this is not about comparing it at that level. But I get your point of what you're making. By the way, just so you know, a lot of people here are saying the following. A lot of people are giving you a lot of love, Adam, just so you know. A lot of people are saying, Adam is growing on me. I appreciate Adam being sentimental and not liking the fact that the left is going after Trump. So you got a lot of soy boy hashtags on fire today. Like soy boy hashtags on fire today.
I try not to read the comments, but thanks.
But some people said it's not going to help him. Some people are saying it is going to help him. I would say 70-30 saying help to not help. And people got some commentary about it helping out.
What I will say about our audience is that we obviously have I would say, in my opinion, a 70-30 pro-Republican audience.
It is an entrepreneur channel.
Okay,
So you got
and
to
I'm
realize
cool with
my
that.
audience is business people.
And just so you guys understand, even though I don't necessarily agree with Trump, don't think that I'm not a capitalist. Don't think that I don't respect your opinions. So much love for all you guys out there.
Cassandra Aguilar, Adam is growing on me. Jonathan
Thank you.
Burgess. We love you, Adam.
Soy
That's how
boy
he said
mafia.
it.
That's
We
soy boy
love you.
mafia.
Go ahead.
You know, it's on the table that they do this next debate via Zoom. So it'll be interesting to see if
Yeah.
Biden tries to just use this to get out of the next debate. That's what I'm expecting next. You know, what's the fallout? You know, what's going to happen in the next couple of days? Because
Can we
it's
talk
only
about
begun.
the Biden debate? Can we? Because I don't think we brought that up. I don't know if we have.
we have. We
have
talked
we? I
about
don't
it
know.
I
after
wasn't
we
there
went-
on
I think I
Thursday.
got dementia. I don't know. It
no,
rubbed
no.
off on
for
me. I
an
don't know.
hour
forgot.
after it.
Didn't
Remember,
we?
weren't we live?
But
What was
his
it?
expectations.
Was the drink spiced or something? What is it? Roofies
Shout
in
out
there?
to Jara. She put something in that drink. I
There
was
was roofies
falling
in that
asleep,
drink
man.
for you.
But Biden, you know, his expectations were so low. Like, I thought he was going to come out there like on a skeleton and like just, you know, Pinocchio that thing out there. And he actually seemed cognitive.
Which means the following. Which means may not be a bad idea to have a part two. So if the Biden camp thinks truly what you think,
Yeah.
which is he did better than expected, guess what? If you're so confident, you should have a part two and a
I
part three.
think they 100% should have another debate.
I hope you're right.
I hope he doesn't
I can't
puss out.
wait for Trump to say, I know what it's like to have COVID. I can't wait for that line to be dropped.
Right. But I think it's going
I
to
think
be
he'll
on
be
Zoom.
congratulations, bro. This is when science and karma meet. Trump gets
That
COVID.
was a good line by who said Science and
SNL.
Karma, SNL with Jim
Yeah.
Carrey. Yeah.
Shout
You
out
know-
to Jim Carrey's impersonation of Biden, and you know Alec Baldwin. I think
earpiece.
does a great job
Yeah.
doing his Trump thing.
Biden had a town hall last night on
Yeah.
NBC.
In Miami,
yeah,
right
in
across the
Miami.
street from my crib.
Real unbiased, by the way. Just like that Trump one when they were attacking him. Not. He says he regrets calling Trump a clown. He says he wish he would have said it was clownish behavior. So he's backpedaling on that one a little bit. But
I
that
gotta
was
make a
pretty
comment.
undignified, I thought.
Here we go. This is the problem with people, and you know what I call they're Twitter tough. I'm not even going to read the name. Soy Boy is a communist Antifa BLM. Like, dude, what are you talking about? Just because I don't agree with you on loving
Is
Trump.
there something you're not telling us?
Yeah, I'm a communist Antifa BLM
Is there- have
because
we
I'm
done
not
a-
a fan of Trump.
Kai,
Get it
have we done an
together,
extensive
buddy.
background check on Adam or no?
Yeah,
we gotta
yeah.
get our CIA people to follow up on the
I'm
sauce
a
snake.
Marxist, communist.
You know, Melania didn't even have
freaking
symptoms.
absurd.
Let's talk about Melania. Let's
Yeah.
pull up the Melania recording that was shared with one of her former friends. By the way, folks, if you have friends like this, you don't need enemies. This is a friend who is sharing this phone call. The main thing, if you haven't seen this already, we can listen to it together and have a reaction. I just want you to see at the end when Anderson Cooper is speaking for 15 minutes of his reaction to this. I want you to see the reaction of her face. Like, just see her face at the end. That's what I want you to focus on. But first, if you haven't heard it, play it. Let's hear it together. This is July of 2018.
I'm complicit. I'm the same like him. I support him. I don't say enough. I don't do enough.
No,
Where I am, I'm working like a ass. My ass.
I know.
Christmas stuff that, who gives a about Christmas stuff and decoration, but I need to do it, right?
Yeah, but 100%. You have no choice.
And then I do it, and I say that I'm working on Christmas, planning for the Christmas, and they said, oh, what about the children? They were separated. Give me a break. Where they were saying anything when Obama did that?
I know.
I cannot go. I was trying to get the kid reunited with the mom. I didn't have a chance. Needs to go through the process and through the law.
But here's my thing. Hear what you just said. But instead of that, if your messaging, you were so loved.
They would not do the story. We put it out.
She's getting emotional.
Getting
Do
crying.
the story.
I'm telling
You
you.
would not believe it. They would not do the story because
No,
they would not do the story because they are against.
Look what she says about
us,
Fox,
because
by the
they're
way.
liberal media. Yeah, if I go to Fox, they will do the story. I don't want to go to Fox.
It's so interesting.
Look at her face.
There's
Just watch her face.
Being hostile.
Look how many times it moves.
Decorating the White House for Christmas. I certainly doesn't jive with the Fox whole idea. I mean, if we're talking about a war on Christmas,
Watch.
It's funny that she would be leading that. But
Did you see that?
Certainly, it's one of those traditional roles, and
That's just Botox.
She's trying to hold it
I
together.
don't know. It's fascinating her to talk like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
pause
her,
it.
Her reaction is because she can't believe she betrayed her like that, and now she's on TV talking about it. She looks completely embarrassed and ashamed. Okay? And here's the other thing. They completely misread that. Melania wasn't trivializing Christmas. She was saying Most Americans don't really care that I'm hanging decorations, but yet she has to act like it's a big deal. That's what she was talking about. But I loved Anderson Cooper's reaction. He was just failure to compute. He was just trying to find something negative to say about her in that moment, and that's all he could pull out.
All I got to say is I'm in favor of legal immigration for anyone and everyone who looks like Melania Trump. 100%. Let them in the country.
You'd buy popcorn for her?
Anything. The best thing that Trump has going for him, and I'm not even being facetious right now, the best thing is that Melania Trump and Ivanka Trump are certified female studs. Like,
Did you listen to anything she said? Like, did she talk about the Yankees having a shot at winning? What did she say? Actually, tell us what she said. What was she talking about? She was talking about collecting
hanging up Christmas and stories and getting the border and the moms and the connected with the kids. She's just so freaking gorgeous that like she could say whatever the hell she wants to say. Like, I don't know. Same with Ivanka Trump. That's the best thing that Trump has going on. He's got good-looking wife, good-looking daughter. The shit show around him is ridiculous, but
So let me get this straight. Taxes are not going to convert you.
No.
Policies are not going to convert you. But how beautiful Melania is, she could convert you to vote for Trump.
Well, she
says a lot about your standards.
That's where I'm at now. That's where I'm at. Straight up.
That is real politics.
That's the one thing I'll tell you about Trump.
Politics.
I'm being honest here, guys. If you're out there in the crowd right now and you're not like, you know, and everyone knows I'm true. Everyone knows this is true. You take a look. You take a look at. I'll tell you one thing. You take a look at Ivanka Trump, and then you take a look at. Not to get all weird here, you take a look at Pete Buttigieg and his potential husband walking down. Are you kidding me? Give me Ivanka Trump. Give me Melania Trump any day of the week. Okay, I'm just saying. You look at Bernie Sanders' wife, whatever that mongoloid is, and then you look at Ivanka Trump. Come on, they got a good-looking situation going on over here.
So
that's all I'm saying.
Presidency should be judged by.
I'm just saying optics. He's done a great job bringing some.
That's why Jimmy Carter didn't get reelected.
Okay,
that's a sad situation.
Look, people could be like this or that or this or that.
Yeah.
You know it's true. They're gorgeous. What are you gonna say? I don't know what the hell she was talking about. They're hanging the Christmas. I don't know. They like me. I don't care what she's saying. She's gorgeous. And there it is. There it is. I said it. There it is.
I see.
People have been wanting me to say that for years.
Would you say she is the hottest first lady ever? Is that
ever? For sure.
Not even close.
Not even close. Who? Jackie O, maybe, but not so much. I don't know. Marilyn Monroe, was she considered a first? I don't know.
See Calvin Coolidge's wife? Not bad.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Abraham Lincoln's wife?
Okay, so
would you disagree that she's the hottest first lady?
I wouldn't disagree.
I mean, how could you? She's freaking supermodel.
I would, and I love the way how she is.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Whenever Trump leaves office, whether it's in 4 weeks or in 4 years.
Nicholas Mattis asked Adam, from here until the election, what would Trump have to do to win your vote outside of marrying a beautiful
Hooking me up
woman?
with the chick that looks like Melania. Done. We got
Sister.
You hook me up, Melania's sister. I take care of you. Are we going to talk about Borat Part 2? Is that coming up?
You were going to make a point because
I will say this: whether Trump leaves office in 4 weeks or in 4 years, when she writes a book, #1 bestseller. Day it comes out. Straight up.
Yeah, she's got some secrets. No
she's
question.
got some stories,
and she's
man.
smarter than you think she is.
She's got. I mean, are you kidding me?
I spent a day with her.
Yeah.
It was impressive.
You spent the day with her.
I
Tell me about
that. I spent a day
that.
with her. I interviewed her for a magazine, and we
Tom, this whole time you've been holding out stories.
It was
You're telling stories about weirdos in Costa Rica. Let's hear this story.
Adam's hero.
What are you doing?
It was the top floor of their hotel in Central Park.
Okay.
You know, amazing view. And
how long ago was this?
This was probably 2012. Maybe
this is pre-presidential.
Yeah, this was like when Apprentice was dying down. But I mean, I was impressed. I really was. She was super cool. She was professional. She was cordial. She was personable, and I was really impressed. I mean, you go in there and you're thinking that maybe you have these preconceived notions that she doesn't. It's just her looks and everything that got her. But man, she's an impressive person. She was very accomplished in Russia. She's strategic. She is a calculating individual. She is not someone. I mean, there's been deals that have been made, I'm sure, for her to put up with what she's had to put up with over the years. I mean, she's a very, very brilliant calculating person. And you're right about the book. I think it'd be an amazing read, no question.
Straight up, she knows that Trump has cheated on her. She has to know that, right?
She's not a dummy, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she's sticking by her man.
There you go.
I think it's impressive.
Power is one hell of a drug,
guys,
man.
Let's talk
because she knows what she signed up for.
Let's talk about the real issue here. Does this do anything? Do you look at this and say unfair towards her? Do you look at this and say, the media is definitely being biased and they're not, The other day, did you see the CNN story that came out the other day, First Wives? Go to CNN First Wives. Just type it on Google, CNN First Wives. Check this out. CNN First Ladies. First Ladies. Yeah, it was on Twitter as well, but you're going to have to go through 50 tweets. Go to First Ladies Week. Yeah, Michelle Obama, the one only. Go to that. Just see the First Ladies recap. No, the CNN. Yeah, right there. Go below it. So they just came out with a documentary. That's the one right there. The CNN special documentary called First Ladies. So just type in on Google First Ladies. First Ladies, and then go to Images. Ladies, then go to Images. Images, there you go. So then type in CNN next to it maybe. Let's see if that'll come up. So they just did a series, okay, on CNN. That one right there. Click on it. Perfect. So who's missing on there?
Wow. The current.
Michelle's big. Hillary's big.
She would have ramped up that poster.
Nancy Reagan's the size of Michelle's ear. Okay? Look at that. And Melania's not on there. A lot of people are not on there.
When did this come out?
This just came out a couple of days ago.
That's unacceptable.
I mean, look at Hillary.
It's unacceptable.
Yeah, this just came out 4 days ago.
Yeah,
Okay?
I mean, even for marketing purposes, you got to put Melania
Is the
on
media
there.
biased against Melania 100%?
Yeah. But I tell you, for me, again, this is not scripted, right? What Melania did. For me, a couple things happened. Number one, that woman, who's going to hire her? I actually want you to ask the question. So you're about to interview her and hire her. Would you consider hiring her?
Hell no.
Would you? No, you say
She's basically leaking stories. She's leaking secrets after the fact.
No.
Is that what
She
she did?
is leaking a private phone call with her friend. Would you hire somebody like that?
No, obviously not.
Okay, so she probably got paid for doing this, sharing this.
She lost her credibility.
She lost
You
her-
know
she's
how much she
done.
got paid? Probably 20 grand. It's
But
not even that much.
The point I'm trying to make to you is, imagine that's your mom. Say that's your mom. Forget about it. It's your mom. It's your wife. It's your sister. Actually, look at it from that standpoint. That is your mom. Your mom just leaked somebody's conversation. What do you tell your mom? What are you doing? So imagine you going to work every day and that's your mom. So your mom is, that's your mom? Your mom is that person? Oh my gosh, I would never. And then I'm not trusting you because you come from that lineage.
That's the Kellyanne Conway daughter
That's
situation.
one of the worst things you could do is to cut the person that hired you to be their alliance, to trust you, to open up and cry like this. Freaking rule number one of character. My enemies, I know stuff on my enemies that are very, very dark thing. I still won't leak it to people. Okay? I still won't leak it to people. What are you doing with that?
Unbelievable.
What are you doing with something like that? That's number one. Second thing, I felt her pain. I sympathize with her. It's like, you know what? I can see what she's going through. I can see the fact that she's ousted. No one's probably reaching out. No one's probably talking to her. No one's probably doing anything with her. Who's contacting her? Definitely not George Bush's wife, because she doesn't like Trump. So she's not calling and saying, is there anything we can help you out with? No, because they're part of Obama's and Clinton's camp. They're on the complete opposite side. These guys are not. So she's alone. She's by herself. Who is she talking to that knows her experience? I don't think anybody does. But again, when I saw this, I was kind of disappointed to see that a advisor that's a friend of yours is going to come out talking like that for you. But I actually think it helped out Melania because the world saw a different side of Melania.
Yeah.
I think we're like, you know what? Damn.
What was the last comment that she could do it on Fox, but she didn't want to? Why? Because she knows that's easy. That's a layup.
No, she knows she doesn't want to do it on Fox because everyone's going to say, of course Fox would do a story like this. She wants that story to be on the CNN or ABC's or CBS or NBC or something like that. Can you imagine no one wants to do a story on the first lady? How many people would watch it? It's a money-making opportunity. Still say no to it.
I was listening to the conversation. I was wondering, when did it click for that woman that she was going to release this tape? Like, I felt, listening to it, she was setting her up. I thought during that conversation, she was egging her on, encouraging her, and already thinking about selling that thing.
Much respect to the audience. We just cracked 3,000. Give a like, give a share, give a
awesome.
what's up.
Put a thumbs up, put a sub, and share it as well. Let's talk about an issue that's very close to me and my lineage and my family. For some of you that know or don't know, my mother is Armenian, Diana Bogosyan. Mom, John, if you're listening to this, first language I spoke was Armenian and then Assyrian. My dad is Assyrian, Asori. Bet David, the house of David. Beta, Surayvin, and a baby Surayli Yemi Adam Netela. Hayranam Khosum, Barskeranam Khosum, Asaranam Khosum. The other, I got a phone call, and I was talking to the actor of the new movie coming out on Apple called Tehran. Have you guys seen this Tehran? I watched the whole thing. I think the 5th one's coming out this Friday. So the main actor has been sending me messages for a couple months on Instagram, and I've not been following it. The main guy that's interrogating everybody whose wife has a surgery, all that goes to Paris. So he sent him. I was like, I'll get to it. I don't know what he's talking about. I honestly have no clue what he's talking about. Then I watch that Tehran comes up, and I'm watching. I'm like, wow. Then I see his name come. He said, "That's my movie's out. Have you seen it?" I said, "That's you." So what a great job he did acting. I was so impressed. He said, "Do you speak Farsi?" I said, I can speak 90%. I understand what they're saying. من یکم فارسی حرف میزنم. خواهرم با پسر آقای ثابتیمانی ازدواج کردن. So فارسی من باید بهتر بشه. So I speak Armenian, first language, Assyrian, second language, Farsi, third language. Then you have a German, fourth language, and then it's English. I took EFL.
You speak 5 languages.
German, I can understand if you speak to me. I can't speak it. Okay, I understand it, but I can't speak it. So Armenia and Azerbaijan, full out war right now. Hundreds of people have been killed. We are officially on the 9th day that this is taking place. If you're following this, protesting's been going on now for quite some time. In Glendale, there were a lot of peaceful protesting going on with Armenians yesterday. A few days ago, Armenians went on the 101 freeway on both sides, holding up the Armenian flag, saying, we got to bring attention to this event that's taking place in Armenia right now. And, eventually yesterday in LA, the councilman came out, Mayor Garcetti sent a video, they gave a statement. All of them were wearing Armenian masks. If you haven't seen that, Kai, if you want to pull it up, LA councilman, Armenia mask, if you want to put that up. It should show up, Armenia mask. This was just literally yesterday. Yeah, right there. If you go to images, this was yesterday. So they gave a talk and they all had the Armenia mask to represent what's taking place. So what is really going on? Let's talk about a little bit of the details of what's really going on. I want to hear your inputs as well with this challenge. So I had a conversation with Eric Israelian, who is the producer of the movie The Promise. If you've not seen the movie The Promise, you got to go watch The Promise. The Promise, this was the last project that Kirk Kerkorian did before he died. He wanted to make sure the story of the Armenian genocide was told. And so he said, I don't care how much money we spent, I want to be able to do this movie. Guess who's the leading actor? Christian Bale. He crushes it. If you've not seen it, you got to go watch The Promise. Kai, can we put the link below for people to see The Promise IMDb so they can go watch it for themselves?
Pull up
I talked to
clip,
Eric yesterday
Kai.
for a good hour. Him and I spoke for a good hour. Eric's a doctor. He's done great things. He's also the producer of the movie. We had very interesting conversations together. Last week on Sunday, I got a call from Armenia with the head of press of Nikol Pashinyan. We had a good 20, 30-minute conversation together. We're trying to schedule time for us to interview Nikol Pashinyan, the Prime Minister of Armenia. But let's talk about a little bit of the events, timeline of what really took place. In 1923, Stalin, when he was the acting commissar of nationalities, decided to make Karabakh region an autonomous oblast of Soviet Azerbaijan. Okay, 1923, that's what Stalin did. So meaning, it's the property and under control of Azerbaijan, but it's led by Armenians with a community that they have. The current conflict began in 1988 when Karabakh Armenians demanded that Karabakh be transferred to Soviet Azerbaijan, from Soviet Azerbaijan to Soviet Armenia, meaning it was under Soviet Azerbaijan. The Armenians from Karabakh says, we want to be moved over to Soviet Armenia. Why? Because as the Soviet Union weakened, Armenian population did not want to remain within the Azerbaijan and declared independence in 1991. Obviously, there was guerrilla warfare from 1988 to 1991. It wasn't pretty, was very ugly. Led to a full-on war in the early 90s, full-on war. And in the late 1991 to 1992, Armenians in Karabakh were targeted for months-long campaign of intentional civilian bombardment and blockade by Azerbaijan, shelling, sniper shooting, aerial attacks, killed and maimed hundreds of civilians, wounded, hurt them a lot. Ceasefire signed in 1994 that brought 2 decades of war that's going on back and forth, a little bit to stability. This is 1994, okay, 1994, which is 26 years ago. April 2016, there was a 4-day escalation. Again, war, ugliness for 4 days, very ugly, going back and forth. People dying left and right, the deadliest ceasefire violation until 2020 crisis, which is now. So now it's been 9 days. We have 2 sides. One side, Azerbaijani president Ilya Aliyev, who's done a lot of different interviews lately, He is saying this is our land, this is ours, they're not going to get it, and if you want to come get it, we're not going to let you have it. Armenia, on the other side, is saying that Azerbaijan attacked first, and they started this, so Armenia has to defend themselves, and Pashinyan, Prime Minister, like, listen, we're not going to sit here and let you do whatever you want to do to our people. We have to defend our people. So they've gone back and forth, and it's very technical, it's very complicated. You know, there is, on one end, you got Armenia, that is somewhat protected by Russia. You know, the Prime Minister has had conversations with the Prime Minister of France, the leaders of Iran. Twice he talked to Putin, Prime Minister Pashinyan has. And Russia kind of protects Armenia, and somewhat Iran protects Armenia as well, because they're right there on the Caspian Sea. And then Azerbaijan is protected by Turkey, and also a little bit of Israel because of the oil business that they have, and Turkey because Turkey is Muslim. Armenia is 96% Christian. Azerbaijan is 91% Muslim. Population to population, I think Armenia is 2.9 million. Azerbaijan is 10.3 million. Armenia's military budget is like 1.7 billion. Azerbaijan's military budget annual is like 2.9 billion. It's twice the amount of military budget. So Azerbaijan threatened to attack Armenia's nuclear plant. This is going back and forth. It's not really pretty. Some of the videos you see are very, very ugly on what's going on. But Russia can stop this. But they can't, they haven't yet, because they do business with Turkey and they sell them weapons. So they are a customer. So there are multiple parties that can stop this, but they haven't yet. US, Russia, and Turkey can stop this right away if they wanted to, but they haven't yet. Why? Each have their own interest. US isn't, because US asked Armenia to stop doing business with Iran. Even though we put sanctions, you still are. And Armenia says, what do you want us to do? They're our neighbors. You want me to say no to them? I share Caspian Sea with these guys. Right across it, we're neighbors. I have to have good relation with my side. Turkey isn't doing it because Turkey's never liked Armenia. You know, Turkey's have wanted to make Armenians disappear for the longest time. Erdogan cannot stand Armenians. He's publicly criticized them regularly. And then on the other side, Russia's kind of in the middle saying, listen, man, we're kind of like the co-chair, and we're watching this with a couple of different nations that were the co-chair. I can't fully get involved. But really, they can't. If Russia, US, and Turkey wanted to stop this, they could do it today, but they haven't yet. So that I got more things I want to talk about with this, but I'm going to turn it over to you guys. I know you guys have done some research as well.
Sure.
Where are you at with what's going on over there?
I don't claim to be an expert, but you know, this thing's only 9 or 10 days old. But if you look at the history, here's the thing that scares about me: Turkey. I mean, they're you mentioned that the fact that they're not going to, and they're right there, and they're the ones that are going to escalate this thing and make it way worse. I'd love to see a situation where the U.S. would step in and help out. I think that he could probably take care of this rather quickly. Do the Armenians have enough support here to get the attention of the people they need to step in and do something? Because I could see this is one of those battles that if you don't have the U.S. getting involved, I mean, this is going to get bloodier and deadlier and go on and on and on unless someone steps in. What do you think the end game is? I mean, can they defend themselves? I mean, do they have the ability over the long term without some sort of assistance?
I don't think so. Not by themselves. No, because here's the thing. They need somebody to back them up. They 100% need somebody to back them up. Azerbaijan is twice the size, military budget, 3 times population-wise, and Turkey 100% has come out and said we're supporting them. No one has come out and say we are fully supporting Armenia like Turkey's supporting Azerbaijan. Here's what you need to know about militaries. You know who's the strongest military in the Middle East?
Turkey.
Turkey, number 1, above everybody.
Exactly.
So you got the biggest military backing you up. You need somebody of a superpower to back you up. And Armenia hasn't had that yet. But I know for a fact both the U.S. and Russia can stop it. Armenia just went into a dealing with China, $15 billion investment going into Armenia. So Trump is probably not too comfortable with that. And the bigger concern for U.S. is more Iran than it is anything else.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I'm seeing here is because, you know, you might have people saying, well, what do I care about Armenia and Azerbaijan? I've never even heard of Azerbaijan. What happened in World War I? Did you really care about what happened in Hungary and Austria-Hungary and Serbia? But the potential for a powder keg is what scares me. This is right in the Middle East. If you don't know where Armenia is and Azerbaijan, it's just north of Iran, just south of Georgia, which is bordering Russia, just east of Turkey, right?
Can you pull up the map?
Yeah, let's pull up a map. But the last thing that we need here is a powder keg to go off and the entanglement that's going on. I mean, you were trying to explain it. You have Turkey supporting Azerbaijan. You have Iran that's playing on both sides. You have U.S. here. Then you have Russia that's kind of playing both sides. Israel has relations with Azerbaijan because they've sold them weapons and they have oil. But now you have people in Israel saying, we can't support these people. We can't do this. The biggest concern for me is this guy Erdogan in Turkey. This guy is a strong man of strong men, okay? And he's just trying to consolidate power. And he's going to be the president of Turkey for quite some time. And the rhetoric that comes out of his mouth is actually crazy. And then you have the, how do you say his name? Ilham Aliyev?
Yep.
This guy. So I've looked at some of his quotes. And these are the types of quotes. These are the types of the way of thinking.
Do you have his tweet up, Kai?
Yeah.
Do you have his tweet?
I'm going to read that. This is the type of thinking that is very, very dangerous. I'll wait for you to pull it up, Kai. He says, Armenia is not even a colony. It is not even worthy of being a servant. This is a president of Azerbaijan, yeah? This is the type of mentality that you can't even respect your bordering country. You can't even respect your fellow man. They're not even worthy of being a servant. This is like when you have the Iranian, the people that run Iran. What do you call them? Sheikhs? What are they? What are the people who?
Mullahs.
The mullahs. The mullahs who says like death to America. They're less than rodents. Like this type of talk, this type of mentality is very, very dangerous. Somebody needs to step in. And whether it's the United States, I don't know if it's Trump's responsibility or if this is Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, somebody needs to step in and end this conflict before it gets out of hand and this powder keg explodes in the middle of the freaking craziest place on the planet, the Middle East.
Can I ask
somebody
you a
needs to
question?
step in.
Sure.
Okay, I got to imagine the Armenians feel incredibly vulnerable and on an island. Like no one's there to support them, right? Are they susceptible to China doing more? Could China see this as a way to escalate tensions?
I was thinking about that just the other day. Yes, they can see this as an opportunity for them to win
That's
loyalty
how I
right
see
now.
it, yeah.
So exactly where you're going is a concern. Here's one thing you need to know about Armenians. Armenians, they're not going to back down, period. You know, if you go back to history, I'm half Armenian, half Assyrian. You know what's the debate on both sides? Which one's the first Christian? Armenians say they're the first Christian, the Assyrians say they're the first Christians. But historically, you know, say Armenians are the first Christians. They are some of the proudest people you'll ever meet, okay? Smartest, proudest. The Silicon Valley of Russia is in Armenia. They are producing some of the best engineers. When we're hiring engineer firms and we want to hire folks to do coding for us, you're going to guess your best of the best is going to be in Armenia for you today. And this is not just me telling you this. You can go around the nation and talk to people that you hire to produce stuff for you. They're going to say, we have our engineers working for us from Armenia. They're building that kind of a reputation for themselves right now in Armenia. However, unfortunately, they are in a situation right now that they need allies. They need somebody to come in and help them out. And it has to be, if U.S. comes out and says, hey, Turkey, what are you doing defending Azerbaijan? It is a form of defending the Armenian genocide. Erdogan has said, if you come out and say Armenian genocide is an event that actually happened, we're going to go ahead and make sure whatever we can do to eliminate your 3 military bases that you have in Turkey. And Armenia, U.S. has 3 military bases in Turkey. The most complicated personality is exactly who you said. It's Erdogan. Listen, they can't stand Armenians. They cannot stand Armenians to save their lives. If there is a nation that they cannot stand, it is Armenians. But if there's a nation that I can tell you from personal, knowing the history, you got fighters above fighters. They're not going to back down. There's no way in the world Armenians are going to back down. And you're starting to kind of see a glimpse of it all over the place. By the way, here's what's interesting. Do you know when's the last time the two of them were in the same room together?
Like negotiating or what?
Do you know when's the last time they were in the same room together? Type in Ilayev and Pashinyan.
It wasn't that long ago, was it?
No, it was a year and a half ago. If you know how to pronounce, spell the name, right there. Type in, and then type in Aliyev. Look at just go down and that name will pop up. Kai, just go down, that name will pop up. Okay, good. And then type in next to it Pashinyan. Pashinyan, January 19th, I think January 22nd, press images. Right there. That's January 22nd, 2019. They were at the Davos together, having a conversation. A year and a half later.
Who is this right here?
That's Ilayev and that's Pashinyan. That's Armenia, Prime Minister, and that's the president of Azerbaijan.
A year ago,
year and a half ago. They're sitting there having a conversation together. Okay, look at that. Can you tell how comfortable that is?
Yeah. On the right is Armenia.
Armenia, on the left is Azerbaijan.
He looks exactly like Erdogan, by the way.
By the way, here's the craziest thing. Check this out. His background, just so you know, little details. Pashinyan's background. He was a journalist, okay? The first company he came out with as a journalist, a year later they shut it down. Then he ended up working for Armenia Times for quite some time. And when he was writing, he came out publicly disagreeing with the way the president, the military leader at the time was doing. Because of that, he went to jail for 1 year. So he ended up going to jail, okay? He comes back, he's writing for Armenia Times as he's going about his business, and he gets controversial. He doesn't support the first president, he supports the second president. Eventually, he ends up running democracy, all this stuff. And the closest comparison I'm going to make to him is Trump. Let me explain to you why. This will kind of make sense to you. So he's being interviewed by BBC. And the guy from BBC asked him, he said, the reporter from BBC asks him and says, why is it that ever since you got elected, there's so much protesting and rioting going against you? He says, because under democracy, you can protest against me. Prior to me, you couldn't protest against the president. I want to allow democracy. So then I was like, okay, but why is it that when what do you call it? They're coming out and telling you that you cannot be, it's the back and forth. Here you go. He comes out and he says, why is it that the UN General Assembly demands the immediate complete exit of all Armenian forces from the occupied territories of Republic of Azerbaijan? How come you haven't listened to it? He says, I'm not going to let Armenians being killed. Okay, what do you want us to do? You want us to sit around? This guy is a true believer of bringing democracy in Armenia. Then they bash him because of COVID. They said, why is it that the number of cases you had is 6 times more than Georgia and way more than Azerbaijan? Every single criticism he's getting is the one that Trump had. Every single. More protesting, hey, you're getting more protesting. More COVID, hey, you're getting more COVID. You're not handling it well, right? Every single, he went to a party that was taking place during COVID, and there was 600 people there, and nobody was wearing a mask, and everybody's like, hey, wait a minute, how come you didn't have a mask on? He says, because the region I was in, you didn't have to wear a mask. And on the complete opposite side, Armenia since 1994 has had 4 presidents. Armenia since 1994 has had 4 presidents. Do you know the same family has led Azerbaijan since 1994? Let me say this one more time.
Imperialist.
Exactly. So you got nepotism, imperialism. Essentially, since 94 Azerbaijan, Armenia, 4 presidents, democracy since 1994. People are choosing their leader. Azerbaijan, the people are not choosing their leader. So Pashinyan is making the argument saying, listen, the people voted me in, but not in Azerbaijan. The families voted people in.
So what's this guy's story?
He's from the family lineage. You know, he comes from the family lineage, and when you're coming from the family lineage, you're almost like the same one coming up. And Aliyev, and his arguments are a complete different argument. He says, listen, this is our land. What do you want us to do? Leave our land. We own this land.
And the land that is in question is Karabakh.
Karabakh, yes.
Oh,
and for thousands of years, Armenia owned the land. But after Stalin in 1923, I think it's 23, in 1923, he said, no, we're going to make it over here to be controlled, but the Armenians can live there. I think the population is 18% Armenian, by the way, in Karabakh. 18% is Armenian. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's not as big as you think, but it is about 19% Armenian. I believe that's the number.
I want to say one thing, and this is something that I've learned, and I got to give a shout out to my friend Tigran Bekian. We've had many conversations about everything that's going on here. Something, that's near and dear to me is obviously being Jewish, the Holocaust, right? In the 1940s, everything happened with Hitler, and that is obviously, the go-to story about genocide. That was World War II. But what people fail to realize is during World War I, right before that, there was an Armenian genocide on the hands of the Ottoman Empire, Turkey, which, correct me if I'm wrong, they fail to recognize. They won't even admit wrongdoing. This is something that Turkey will not own up to. One thing that I respect about Germany is they've owned up to it. I mean, they have not taken down the concentration camps. They tell people to come visit. They will not allow Nazi symbols in Germany. They know that they messed up, obviously, times a billion. What is it with Turkey that they won't even own up to the fact that they've created this genocide of Armenian people?
Well, and then you're vulnerable to repeat history,
Yeah.
right? When you have the exact same beliefs. You know, this is a comment that kind of relates to this, but I wish this would come up in the debates. But listen to the names that we've thrown out here in just this conversation: China, Iran, Russia, Turkey, U.S. Our biggest problem in this country right now, and I wish they would address it in the debates, is we don't know who our enemies are. We think it's the Democrats for the Republicans or the Republicans for the Democrats. That's all we spend our time on with this bickering. And I just believe this division that we have in this country
very good point.
is being manufactured,
very good point.
you know, by these bigger superpowers. And if we get thrust into this thing, it's going to be big. Because when you look at all the players that are involved and the area that it's in, and that's the biggest problem with this country, is we just don't we don't really truly know and identify who our real enemies are.
Why don't we do that?
That's a very good point.
Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead.
Why don't we do that right now? Who's number one enemy
let's
right
stay,
now?
Let's stay on this. Let's stay on this point here, because I do want to answer your question, because you asked and said,
Armenian genocide.
Germany came out and said, you know, hey, we did it, okay? But they paid a massive price for it. I think their last payment of reparations was just in 2018 or some number like that. It's just recently they got done paying off for all the reparations. And I talked to Aram Hamparian, who works out of DC, representing the Armenian community. Do you know what's the number Armenia is going to ask of Turkey if they say the genocide did take place?
$1 trillion.
It's in the trillions of dollars. This is very basic for them. They don't want to pay reparations. Simple as that. Trillion is a big number. Okay,
Wow.
You're not talking about a small number here. It's reparations. When the genocide took place, there was a whole insurance scam going on behind closed doors of the people that were dying, their policies. That's a whole different story that had to do with Turkey wanting to get even more money on the insurance policies. But this is a very, very ugly thing that took place. And all that needs to happen is America needs to say, it is an event that took place. Congress agreed to it. Senate agreed to it. It went all the way up to President. President said no earlier this year. And but again,
This year?
This year, yeah, this just
Trump
happened.
said no?
It's either this year or it's December, but it's in less than 12 months.
So what happened with that? Unpack that for me.
Exactly what I just told you.
Yeah.
Turkey is an ally.
Of course.
If Turkey becomes an enemy,
NATO.
you lose all control in the Middle East. So the only thing, if Trump comes out, Obama said he'll do it. He didn't do it when he became president. Every one of these guys had said they're going to do it. They haven't done it when they became president. No one's ever done it since they've been president. Bush, all of them have said it. This is an event that happened to win the Armenian vote. No one said yes yet. But if Trump says yes, he wins the 3 million, whatever the amount of people that he's going to win over, right? But he's going to lose Turkey. And Turkey's a much more needed ally for him in the Middle East. It's unfortunate, but that's how he's processing it. It's not that it didn't happen, but I can tell you one thing. It's a money deal, and Turkey does not want to pay the trillions of dollars that they're going to pay, especially in today's money. And it may take them 100 years to pay it off, by the way. This is not like reparations for Germany against the Jewish community.
92 years.
How long?
For World War I, 92 years.
92 years.
World
There you
War
go.
One, though. That wasn't a...
Yeah, but you're talking about, I'm talking about Nazi Germany.
1941.
I found 92 years. They paid off the last one in 2010.
Okay, last one was paid 2010. 2010.
I mean, that's
It's a long
game-changing for
time.
two economies, the
Yes,
one paying it and the one receiving it.
Exactly. So that's the part you have to realize with that going on. So anyways, folks, if you're watching this, what we're going to be doing is I'll make an announcement here what's going on. I know the Armenian community, they message me all the time on Instagram, all over the place. I'm getting even texts right now for some of my peers. I want you to know we're in communication with their camp. If my suggestion is a long-form interview to be able to do with the Armenian PM, and they can reach out to us. I know even the Azerbaijani community has reached out saying, what if Ali Ilayev wants to do an interview with you? Would you be open to it? I'm open to figuring out a way to stop this 9th day so it doesn't continue to 10th day. Because I saw videos the other day. My friend Steve sent me a video. Kai, do you have that video that I just sent you? Can you put it up just to kind of see? It's not the worst video. I almost thought about it whether I wanted to show it or not. But, some of the words he's saying, if Kai can get this is probably in Armenian, it's the worst possible words you can be saying. Let's see if Kai can find it.
Shout out to
There
Steve
you
while we
go.
pull up his clip.
Steve Avetian, yeah.
Good boy. Shout out to Rafi's place. If you're in LA, go check that out.
All right, check this out. Look at this. This is Armenian soldiers.
Turn that up, guy.
They're walking and they're seeing what the Azerbaijani military did to their people.
Oh my God.
By the way, if you're Armenian, you're listening, you got kids, you may not want your kids to listen to this. The profanity is pretty... Were you waiting for us? Son of a... These are all bodies on the side, by the way. This is what's going on right now, we're not seeing. These are all bodies on the side. And this continues, by the way. If you want to pause it, you get the idea. Yeah, I mean, he just cursed his mother out for what they're doing. So
that was which military?
This is Armenian military that is going seeing their soldiers killed, Armenian soldiers killed of what Azerbaijan did to them. I mean, it's a very the one Instagram I'm going to give a shout out to go follow. The population in Artsakh is 99% Armenia today. That lower number is back when yes, that's right. The population in Artsakh is 99% Armenia today. Back when it was to Azerbaijan, it was 18% Armenian. But today it's 99% Armenian. Artsakh, that community.
Okay, that's the step that I saw.
So let me give you one Instagram profile, Zarton K Media. If you can post these guys' link below, I kind of want these guys to get some love because they're getting people to follow their stories very closely. And I'll give you another update as well with the stories for people to follow. Okay, so we're getting the last 6 minutes here, gang. This is the most we've ever had on a podcast. We've never had any other number that's bigger than this except for the debate. Outside of the debate, this is the first time we've cracked 3,000 people ever. I think the highest was 2,700. We cracked 3,119, and I'm glad you're enjoying this. Listen, we're having fun with this as well. You're bringing us just as much energy as we're bringing to you. So believe it or not, your commentary is helping out, your energy is helping out. We're feeling it. There's a couple announcements I want to make to you. Let me make the first announcement that we've been working on here for quite some time. So with Valuetainment, as you guys can see, this whole thing started off with a channel being called Patrick Bet David. When we got to 40,000 subscribers, I decided to change it to Valuetainment. I thought I came out with an original name. Come to find out, Valuetainment was a publicly traded company in Germany. I got a contact with the CEO. His name is Dirk. I asked him for the domain. I wanted to buy it. He said, I'll give it to you for $500,000, but I'm a publicly traded company. I said, I just want you to know we're building a company and I want that name. He says, I'm not going to sell it to you for what you want, but I'll give it to you for $500,000. Long story short, 3 years later, he changes the company name from Valuetainment to Valuetees, IES. So it's still there. We ended up buying the domain a couple of years ago for a good number, but definitely not $500,000. So we own Valuetainment.com. And when we started Valuetainment.com, it wasn't about Patrick Bet David. You have your own opinions. You know, you come in, you're anti-Trump and you don't like what he does and you have certain opinions, but you're reasonable, you can talk and you don't seem like you're crazy. You're just kind of giving your opinions or experience where you're at. And great. You have your own show now, Valuetainment Economics. You're doing great. People are loving your content. Every week shows coming out with you. Tom Zenner now has been working with us now. I think it's 4 weeks, 6 weeks. I don't know the exact timeline. I think it's about 4 weeks. You've been on the podcast several times. People love having you. You've had your background on what you've done with media. We got a team now. We're making videos. Daniel DeMartino Booth is now creating content. We got a lot of other people that are coming along with the audience as well. And we're constantly looking for new talent to bring on board that matches that Valuetainment. You got to bring value, but you got to be entertaining. You got to bring value, but you got to be entertaining. Daniel DeMartino, value, but you got to be entertaining. You got to have that Valuetainment DNA. The most recent addition that we're adding to Valuetainment, which is very, very exciting. We've been very excited about this for a while. We have officially made it, we finalized the agreement. General Spalding is the latest talent that we are adding to Valuetainment. General Spalding of the Air Force, that we did a few interviews, his experience of living in China multiple times and going there as a one-star general, he now officially has a show on Valuetainment called Generally Speaking, which he'll be conducting interviews and giving us updates. And I cannot wait for him because his background, I think he landed here already. I don't know if he's already at the office. Is he already here or not? If he can text Mario, he may be here right now. Him and Daniel are about to have a meeting to get at the office. But General Spalding is officially going to be a content creator on Valuetainment. We are very, very excited to have him on here with us. General Spalding. So that's exciting to announce. His show will be coming out here very soon. And outside of that, with General Spalding, the other announcement I do want to make to everybody is the fact that while this entire time things have been going on, news is being shared, we decided to come out with our own news site. Kai, if you can give me the mouse and the keyboard so I can kind of show the folks, if you want to go to the site, and then I'll take over with the keyboard. We are officially this morning launching our own news site called vtpost.com. Let me say this one more time. We are launching a news site called vtpost.com, the go-to news site for busy people. And the reason why we came up with this is because Look, I don't have time when I'm running a company. I got all these different things I'm doing. I don't have time to sit there and watch news for 2 hours, 3 hours. I need news to be quick. And if you're somebody that watches Valuetainment, you're probably somebody as well that doesn't have all the time in the world. VT Post is built specifically for busy people, okay? So it's going to be slightly different. Editor-in-chief is going to be Tom Zenner right here, who's been in this world for quite some time. I think you said, what, 26 years?
Yeah, 25 years.
It's a long time that you've been with a lot of experience. And you get different kind of headlines. When you come here to story, after circus-like debate, Biden says he regrets clowning around. And you'll have headlines, you'll have business, you'll have politics, you'll have lifestyle, you have entertainment, pop culture. I mean, it'll show you stuff. If you go to here, houses you can rent, we'll have cigars, we'll have after hours, enjoying life, ballers, sports, a lot of different things that you can come with the new site that you look at. It doesn't matter what interests you the most, whether you want to go see what's going on with sports, whether you want to see this house that Jeter and Brady own that's on sale right now for $28 million and details on that, whether you want to find out updates on what's going on with Trump, or maybe you want to go see the top 5 stories today. We have it all here for you on Valuetainment, VTPost.com. Tom, I think you want to say something.
Well, Pat, thanks for the opportunity. And I think a lot of people are looking for something like this right now. I mean, and we've really spent a lot of time building this thing for the people that are busy. And you don't have a lot of time. But once you come here, I think you're going to spend some time here. Now, we wanted to write our stories in a flashy way, but in a way that doesn't waste your time. 250 to 300 words. You get all the information you need, and then you move on. You're going to know what's going on in the day. But we wanted to have our own personality, our own edge, and our own voice with this. So, like if you go to Ballers, that's going to be the category for pop culture, sports, and entertainment. We're not doing scores. No one cares about that. We're going to tell you about the brawl at the end of the football game. We're going to tell you about, Chris Pratt being in trouble for what he put out on Instagram. And our news flash, I want you to really pay attention to our headlines too, because we try to have some fun with them. We try to draw you in. And there are plenty of news sites out there. We get bombarded with it all day. I think it's one of the biggest problems in this country is the gloom and doom factor. They're trying to scare the crap out of people 24/7. We don't do that. We want to be fun. We want to be optimistic, but we also want to tell you what's going on in the world. We're not going to be biased. We're going to rely on common sense. And I think you're going to have some fun on this site. So come check it out today. Come every day. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter and stay connected with us. Follow us on all the social media platforms that we have, and we're going to keep you updated.
Yep,
it's going to be fun.
And by the way, last but not least, here's a last but not least that I want to share with everybody that's watching as well. We are looking for contributors. It's that simple. We are looking for contributors like this article here, written, Artsakh Right to Self-Determination Held Hostage by Azeri Expansionism, written by Von der Megerdichian, a UCLA graduate, who's currently going to Columbia University for journalism. He writes what's going on. There's a timeline to it, and there's going to be updates on specifically with what's going on with Armenia, but we are looking for contributors. And what we are doing with our contributors, just so everybody understands to apply for it, when you do apply to be a contributor, and you write articles, we will be sharing your articles on Valuetainment, on Twitter, on our Valuetainment Facebook page, on if the story's a good story and you have an audience as well, we'll put it on Instagram. But we're going to give you a lot of exposure as well for yourself, and there'll be different levels. Anybody that writes 30 articles, you'll get recognition on the homepage scroll. Anybody writes 25 articles, we're going to give you recognition on VT Post video, specifically recognizing the new contributor that's written 25 contributors. Anyone that writes 100, you get a $25 Amazon gift card. And anyone that contributes 500 articles, you'll be invited to exclusive VIP parties that we'll put together with the Valuetainment audience. You'll get a chance to meet a lot of different people. So if you want to apply to be a contributor, simply go to contributors on the site, go to apply. And then once you're able to get approved by the team will respond back to recognize you. Then your stories will be here by contributors on the homepage, and people will be following your content as well. So having said that, 2 announcements. General Spalding, new talent on Valuetainment. We're very excited about that. And on top of that, VT Post that we are launching today. If you haven't yet visited VTPost.com, Kai, if we can put the link below, go to VTPost.com, give us a visit, give us a shout out, and we'll give you daily news, 20 news stories every single day of everything that is going on.
Congratulations,
hey, thanks,
Tom.
guys.
Congratulations,
It's been a great process.
That's great.
Night and day working on this, man. Right? Night and day working on this.
But worth it now,
yes,
for sure.
Definitely. Again, by the way, he had a flat tire. Everything was going against yesterday, but we are here.
I literally had a flat tire at 1 in the morning last night.
1 o'clock in the morning, we're texting, but we're here, we're launching it. So, gang, thank you for being with us. Until next time, today's what, Tuesday? I think we are doing it again this Thursday, next podcast. And we are still thinking about doing a live on the next debate. If it does happen on the 15th, we are listening to you. If you want to see it, comment below and tell us yes. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so. Put a thumbs up and go visit our website. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.
Go Heat tonight, guys.
Go Heat tonight.